slightly through this afternoon, and along that boundary, we will have some thunderstorms and also downpours developing. Later on tonight, our skies are mostly cloudy. We lose the precipitation, and temperatures are not as warm as the last couple of nights, with overnight lows in the upper 60s.
This report is sponsored by Rocket. Rocket.com is the new home for all things home ownership. Whether you're buying your first home, finding your next one, or unlocking home equity to fund one of your dreams, there's only one destination that has everything you need to get started, all under one roof. Get started today at Rocket.com. Rocket, own the dream.
Shop Mattress Firm's July 4th sale and reclaim your restless nights. Choose from a curated premium selection of mattresses to find just the upgrade you're looking for. Get matched, sleep at night.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, BANG. That's BANG. Enter it now.
FoxPHLGambler.com. Once again, FoxPHLGambler.com right now.
So the Portland Trailblazers select Colin Cowherd here. This is a young man.
Oh, I don't know if he's that young, Malika. He's got a couple on me, and I'm not the youngest guy in the block. That's for damn sure. Good afternoon, everybody. It's the Daily Ticket coming to you live following the NBA draft, night one in the NBA. Of course, front and center, all things on ESPN. Last night, a lot of people talking about the coverage. We're going to get into that. But we got to open up with the Philadelphia 76ers and the selection at number 3 overall, VJ Edgecombe.
With the 3rd pick in the 2025 NBA draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select VJ Edgecombe from Bimini, Bahamas and Baylor University.
How about that? Sam Oshtry from The Score, Sean Barnard right from The Jump. Folks, if you are itching to get a little bit more information on the 76ers and everything that's coming our way for this upcoming season, expectations for the rookie, we're going to revisit everything that took place in night one. We're going to look ahead to tonight because there's plenty of value on the board. Of course, the kid from St. Joe's still available. We got a lot to get to, and Sam and Sean are the best to have right here, right now. So, boys, I want to open up with a simple question to get this party started. Colin Cowherd, are you kidding? Not kidding. VJ Edgecombe, expectations, right? We'll go right to it. And when it was called, no surprise, we discussed it at length, I feel like, for a couple days now. Yesterday, we hit on it pretty good. The money was there at minus 700. Julian told us money coming in on the fact that VJ would have been the 3rd overall selection. Do you think there was any phone calls being made behind the scenes that Morey wanted to possibly potentially draft or trade back and draft somebody else? Sam, we'll start with you. All of the above.
Certainly no surprises there. Daryl Morey even said in his post-game press conference, he was like, I love hiding my pick, but usually I'm not drafting this early on. And he admitted and just relented on the fact that I'm not going to be able to hide this pick. And he just gave up on that. And that's why there were so many leaks about it, because he knew everyone knew who he was going to draft. And he said he was looking between 4 guys. That obviously was VJ Edgecombe, likely Ace Bailey, likely Trey Johnson, and maybe Kaman Malawach you could project as potentially the 4th guy they were looking at there. It ended up being VJ Edgecombe, which everyone had projected for weeks now. Going back to, I don't even know exactly when, it was between Ace Bailey and VJ Edgecombe. The second the Sixers got the pick, I said VJ Edgecombe is the guy. What the Sixers are getting is an unbelievable athlete, like an unbelievable athlete, the best athlete in this class, and not just the best athlete in this draft class, one of the best athletes in the league already, because he's that much of an athlete. When you watch this guy soar and jump for dunks, for putbacks, for blocks, it's like he's on the stepper. and he's just has his hang time is ridiculous. He continues to elevate as he jumps. I could watch him jump for 20 minutes. So an unbelievable athlete, a good defender, a good spot-up player who will be a complementary piece to Tyrese Maxey, McCain, Embiid, Paul George, all those guys, which is the role you need him to fill. So it's the right pick. Obviously, it's not the situation the Sixers want to be in, where they're drafting 3 overall, but given their circumstance, it was the right pick, and the Sixers got a good one.
Sean Barnard, what else would you like to fill in there?
Yeah, 100%. And for starters, I love it from VJ, puffing out your chest, saying it, that I'm the best athlete in this draft. I can jump higher than these guys. I can run faster than these guys, as he did on the stage last night. But when we talk about like these athletes in a vacuum that are just these like ridiculous skill sets, can jump out the gym, it's oftentimes we're talking about there isn't a shooting touch or there isn't a feel for the game. And that is not the case with VJ Edgecombe. There is a refined skill set to his game as far as making the right reads, being a good basketball player, just knowing how to play in a way that I think is often off the mark when we're talking about like that archetype of player. He's a good shooter, shot 35% or 34% at college. When you look at his high school numbers, they're far more promising than that. The catch and shoot numbers are pretty solid there. And he's got a motor on him, man. That's the number one thing that I think is going to jump off the page to Sixers fans and the kind of general public. This dude plays his tail off every single night. I still don't think he has fully figured out how good he is as a basketball player. And I had that feeling watching Baylor games. I may have been up till 3 a.m. watching some Bahamas Olympic tape last night. And I was thrilled with what I saw from VJ Edgecombe with a little more spacing. All those concerns about the handle and all that kind of stuff, it was pretty much non-existent when there was better spacing on the floor. And I think that's what he's going to get at the NBA level. So I'm thrilled by the pick. Sixers fans should feel hopeful right now.
If I was Tony Reale on a previous Around the Horn show, I would have gave him extra points. Were you watching Bahamas Olympics tape?
I'm
taking points away. I'm taking points away.
Well, watch too much tape of these prospects. I'm not Bahamas. Actually, not that much of VJ Edgecombe, because you kind of want to watch more of the lottery guys who you don't know as much of, because I watched a lot of him in basketball, but definitely, in college, but definitely not Bahamas tape.
All right. So again, the 76ers 3rd overall pick, VJ Edgecombe, we knew it. We all said it. Everybody was on board. And Daryl Morey spoke a little bit after at the press conference, during the first. Yeah. Do we have, let's just pause here. It doesn't seem right, but if he's not making moves, should we care?
But like, you always want to keep your line open.
Daryl Morey was doing a press conference in the middle of the first round.
Yeah, you always want to keep your line open. And he had 2 phones with him on the podium. But it's like, there could be something that happens you have to attend to pretty quickly. And it was a pretty short press conference, like 10 minutes, but still, it was a little head scratching. Like, all right, what if there's a move? What if he wasn't going to make any moves, but what if someone's reaching out for a late second rounder in next year's draft? I don't know, anything.
Yeah.
I agree. The optics are bad. To throw a little defense on him for this, I'm pretty confident. Like, the game plan going was we're making a pick at 3. And when you dive into the finances, there really was not a ton of room for them to even move back into the late first round. So I think they were pretty concretely content with they're going to make the selection at 3, and then they're going to attack in the second round tonight, which I fully expect them to do. But I agree that the optics of it, not exactly 10 out of 10 there.
Yeah, that's the one thing that hit me. Were there any other general managers doing a press conference during the first round? Like, that's the type of thing that Daryl Morey, look, he takes criticism that is correct. He takes criticism that was off the wall. He has a bullseye in his back because he comes off somewhat smug, and I'm the smartest guy in the room. That is a prime example. That's a prime example right there. Sam Presti doing it. Sorry, he's the golden child right now, and I would do anything that Sam Presti is doing. In fact, they're talking about him possibly running the Seattle Supersonics if they get a new team in this expansion. Yeah, that was a little bit of a tidbit that was released last night.
Let me compliment Daryl Morey, because I've been critical of him, and I believe deservedly so in the past, but the guy has drafted extremely well over the last few years. When you go back to Tyrese Maxey in the 20s, Jared McCain in the 20s, and we don't know what VJ Edgecombe is just yet, but everyone projects him to have a pretty high floor. And what Daryl Morey gets about the draft, and which is why the majority of those picks last night aren't going to pan out. The majority of those picks, when their second contract comes around, are not going to be on the same team. And you want to know why, and why the draft is so difficult to predict? You're drafting a person as much as you are a player. And you can project the player. I mean, there are a million talent evaluators, scouts out there who are really good at projecting the player that a guy can become when you watch him on film. Projecting a person at that young of an age and projecting a person when he gets millions of dollars and goes into fame and all this stuff, it's really difficult. But what Morey has done a great job of is projecting the person as much as the player. And when you look at guys like Jared McCain and Tyrese Maxey and now VJ Edgecombe, these are guys who have infectious energy, hardworking dudes who just bring joy every single day to the facility and around the team, guys who people want to be around. And when you have that infectious energy and joy, it translates to the whole team. So those are the guys you want to draft. Also guys who you know are hard workers, but know they have so much more to improve and things that they need to improve on. And that's what you get with Tyrese Maxey. That's what you get with Jared McCain. And now VJ Edgecombe is a guy who had nothing. Everyone saw that post-game interview with Taylor Rooks when he was talking about how he didn't have electricity for 7 years. And they had to use a generator, his family, and how hard his mom worked to just give him a living and a life. And now that motivated him to work just as hard. Those are people that you want to bring into your organization. So Daryl Morey has done a phenomenal job of drafting people as much as players. And that's as important as anything when you're bringing a guy into your franchise in the draft.
And to interject a little farther on the draft, Love, like it goes beyond the first round. Adem Bona, they nailed in the second round. Paul Reed was a good selection. Isaiah Joe, a good selection. Justin Edwards, they brought in off the undrafted market. And I get, like, in the grand scheme of things, sure, these aren't going to make or break an organization, but that's a really good hit rate when you look at the players drafted in that range and what they've brought to a team here. And I do think that they've been cognizant and intentional about the character, that I think that this is something that they have kept in mind and intentionally tried to build up a little bit of culture here in Philadelphia. And I honestly think that pretty much entirely sums up a good deal of the Ace Bailey versus VJ Edgecombe conversation, with the red flags that were popping off the charts with Ace. And shout out to him. I hope you enjoy Salt Lake City.
Yeah, you took away. You took my my thunder there, Sean Barnard, but that's all right. It's a perfect segue. We'll flip it on the other way. All right. So let's go ahead and play this. Of course, Ace Bailey made life easier for Daryl Morey. He is now heading to the Utah Jazz.
With the 5th pick in the 2025 NBA draft, the Utah Jazz select Arius Ace Bailey from Rutgers University.
Damn, that is a good name. I won't lie. You know what was funny too? I was laughing about Harper and Ace Bailey, the Rutgers love. There was Rutgers in the jacket. They were all red. And I'm just like, you guys were there for like literally a half a season.
And they went 17-15.
And they went 17-15. But then I said, oh, that's the NIL world. Yeah, when you make a couple million, I'm sure that's going to have a little bit of an impact on you. So
more than a couple million.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, so Ace Bailey, let's shift it on over to Ace Bailey ending up in Utah. And it's a big deal. It's a big talking point for us for the past couple of weeks. And you know what? It was a big talking point yesterday. It's funny because, you know, when we're going to talk a little bit about the whole production, what the draft is, the personalities, you have to be very careful because you can't dunk on these kids. You can't rip them. This is their night. Or can you? Again, we're going to get into it because there are people out there to say they like Bill Simmons. Bill Simmons, you know, ripped on Anthony Bennett, which I ripped on that draft pick as well. This is one of the worst picks ever in NBA history, quite frankly. But, you know, there's a fine line. And I thought that they did a good job with that. But at the same time, you could have gave me a little bit more because this dude has been absolutely boneheaded. Whatever, you know, advice he's getting, it's 100% the wrong way to go about it. And everybody said that yesterday, no matter the outlet. So with that being said, Ace Bailey did make life a little easier on Daryl Morey by forcing the hand of everybody out there. Utah Jazz, though, selecting. What do you say to that, Sam?
Well, Ace Bailey's strategy didn't work and his camp strategy didn't work. They were trying to dictate his destination. And my whole point had been that he's not good enough. He's a really good player, exceptional raw talent, but he's not good enough to try to dictate his destination.
So where was the destination?
Again, I believe rumors to go to the Wizards at 6 and potentially maybe even Brooklyn at 8.
Who the hell ever said they want to go play for the Wizards?
The reason is because geographically he's a Northeast guy and wants to stay on the Northeast. Sure as hell didn't want to go play in Utah, but that's where he landed. So that's the whole point, is that his strategy and his team strategy didn't work because he ended up with the Utah Jazz, a place he was pretty adamant that he did not want to go. But I love the pick by Danny Ainge and Austin Ainge and that entire Jazz front office, because why not take a chance on this guy? You have nothing to lose. So really, really weird roster. What are they going to do with Lauri Markkanen, John Collins, all these guys? But I really like the pick because you have nothing to lose, so you might as well take a chance on the raw talent. bring this guy in. It's going to be his show to some degree, but he also is going to be playing with other talented guys on a bad team in the West. There's not going to be a lot of spotlight around him. Let him grow and develop. Who cares if he doesn't want to play for you guys? He's a professional. He's not good enough to try to sit out or say, trade me or anything like that. So he's not going to do that. You bring this guy into your organization and you make him play for you, and you're gonna take a chance on a guy who could pan out because of the raw talent. So I love the gamble and I love the pick from the Jazz.
Yeah, and follow up, quick one from Roy. Roy checking. He said he wanted to go to Wizards to take 20 shots a game and deal with no pressure. You're right. You're right, Roy. No, that is absolutely nails it with that. And
he's doing that with the Jazz to a degree with in the pressure part. The only thing is it's just all the way out west. And he didn't want to go out west. He wanted to stay on the East Coast.
Sean, Bob Myers did have a good take on earlier before the draft went off. And he said, look, man, it's not something that you want as a general manager. It doesn't mean you can't draft him. It's definitely a red flag. But eventually there will be a spot that you must pull the trigger on him, no matter who the team is. Stephen A., I know, was very adamant about the 76ers not drafting him. If you're a Sixers fan out there and you're going to look me dead in the eye and say they should have drafted him, I'm going to say you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I ultimately landed on that conclusion. I did the homework on Ace. Like, I talked to a lot of people about Ace, and I want to reinforce the point that everything I've heard is he's not a bad kid. He's a good teammate. He's well-liked. But what it is he's got bad people in his ear right now. And from what I understand in the situation, it is Omar Cooper, Sharif Cooper's dad, who's advising him in these situations and representing him as an agent here. Not a strong track record as an agent. His son, Sharif Cooper, had his own individual issues when making the NBA leap. And when you just look, he's represented some WNBA clients. There's not really a track record in the NBA. And I think he's kind of, I guess, a little above his head in this situation. And to Sam's point, Ace Bailey just not quite the caliber of talent that you can steer things the way that they intend you. But I did want to bring this question up. I agree with you, Sam, from the conclusion and assessment that he's not good enough. But you don't think he tries? You don't think there's any world where he causes a star beyond this? Or is it he plays good soldier from here on out?
Nah, I think he plays good soldier. I mean, he would be such a red flag if at this point he tries to get his way out of Utah.
What
organization would touch him? Like, what organization would touch this guy if he's anything but a good attitude going to play for the Utah Jazz?
You think he's trying to force himself out of Utah already, Sean?
I mean, I certainly wasn't persuaded by the clips of his press conference I saw regarding talking about like control what I can control. You know, I had my teams I was searching for. They saw it differently. Like, that's not what I want to hear if I'm a Jazz fan.
I like you said to the point about who's representing him and who's in his corner. He's not getting good advice, and that includes with his PR strategy and all of this and how he handles the press and the media and the fans. But when he was running away when at the Mets game, when the Sixers, someone yelled at him like, "Come to the Sixers," and he starts sprinting the other way. But
that's actually smart. I actually applaud that. That's a nice one. I wish I did that a long time ago too. Yes.
Yeah.
But to your point is, he would have no market out there if he started playing sour and started just having a horrible attitude going to play for the Jazz. Like, what organization would possibly take a swing on this guy if he did that as a guy who hasn't even played a single game in the NBA? So I don't really think that's going to happen.
He's going up in the G League. That's what's going to happen.
Exactly. So I think his advice might be bad. It's not that awful where he'll have a good attitude and go to the Jazz and try to develop as a player.
Well, I'll tell you what, everybody did say that he could potentially be the best pick in this draft. There were a lot of people that said that.
Well,
you got Cooper Flag. We're going to talk about Coop in a second. Cooper Flag, of course, the situation he's going into. Do want to bring up the odds for Rookie of the Year. Cooper Flag is your favorite right now at minus 200. I don't think that's a good play. We'll get into that. Like I said, Dylan Harper at plus 900. Of course, with that price, it's not a good play, number one. But let's get into what exactly the expectations and how it's going to play out next year in Dallas. Ace Bailey, 10-1. I did see people float that out there because of what Roy just said, 20 shots a game. What do you say to that, Sean Barnard?
Yeah, I think there's a chance. I still want to see the dust settle on the Ace. I'm not as fully convinced as you guys. And I do think like that was the biggest red flag to me of how deeply rooted the bad voice seems to be in his camp here. And I don't think that he's going anywhere in this conversation. So I'll let the dust settle.
Chance he's really going to make a scene and then stir the pot over there?
Well, like to your point about there being no market, like he doesn't care about that. At this point, that's not in his controllables. He doesn't care what a return on an Ace Bailey trade would be at this point. All he's going to care about is the destination.
It's not even a return. It would be that there would be no callers. It'd be like the Bradley Beal situation, but it's a completely different contract. There would be no callers calling for him, and he should care about that because then his NBA future is cooked.
You don't think if you're the Washington Wizards right now, who concretely know Ace Bailey wants to play for us, that you wouldn't move future capital or try and make things happen to get him on the roster this year if he's that miserable in Utah?
I don't know, man. At this point, if he really does that, I would be like, this guy is the worst attitude ever. I want nothing to do with him.
I'm already saying that.
His maturity,
I'm
everything
already
about
saying
him
that.
screams this guy can't become a good player if he went that route. And it's not even a good player. It's everything that goes beyond the player. It's the person. So I would want nothing to do with that. Just erode my culture. If he goes that route, I'm saying I wouldn't do that if I'm the Wizards.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. The ideal world and the proper response from Ace Bailey would be to say, I'm excited to represent the Utah Jazz and excited to carve out a basketball career from here, but I need to see him take those steps. If he takes those steps there, I still believe him as a talent. I don't take back any of the things that I said as him from an evaluation for an on-court standpoint, but he is a raw product still that he is going to have to clean up. The shot selection, the playmaking, there's things to work on. He is not this like dead set for stardom type of prospect here. There are legitimate red flags both on and off the court. So if he settles in and does that, I can see the vision with an Ace Bailey Rookie of the Year conversation. There's a lot of steps until we get to that point in my mind.
Yeah, I don't know where this dude woke up and all of a sudden thought he was James Harden. Like, dude, you're not. You're not on that level. You are a rookie. You had a great season at Rutgers. You have built up a huge deal over your whole high school career. I want to give you all the credit in the world to get to this point. But there have been plenty of great players that have gotten to this point. It's what's here now that's going to be the difference. Yeah. And look, Danny Ainge, I want to give credit to Julian Edlow because he joined us yesterday and he said, from what I know about Danny Ainge, Boston, he's got all the connections, all that. He said he's not going to pass on Ace Bailey. So there it was. Sean Barnard, were you surprised at the Charlotte Hornets pick with Con Knipple passing on Ace Bailey?
No, I wasn't surprised by that from the Hornets. I think they're taking a page out of like the playbook of building up culture, that they seem way more intent on building high character guys, bringing those in. And they certainly have their red flags and still do on roster from personality or attitude standpoints or off court stuff, however you want to phrase it with that. So I think Con fits that. And the other thing is just from a pure basketball standpoint, you need low usage guys to surround LaMelo Ball primarily here. That Con is not going to need the ball in the hands a ton. He's going to be a positive asset without needing like a ton of workload there. So I like the decision for Charlotte. I think that's a good spot for Con too. And I think they're quietly moving in the right direction. Charlotte is. They
love those Tobacco Road players though. That's the only issue. And I thought it was a very easy draft pick. We talked a lot about him yesterday. I thought Mark Henry Jr. had a pretty good take as far as defense is concerned. He's going to struggle. But if he's filling it up from outside, I get it. I'm with the pick. I do want to laugh a little bit, though, about the roster in Charlotte. If it did have Ace Bailey, if it did have LaMelo, who else am I missing?
Brandon Miller,
Miles Bridges, a lot of good character guys over there.
Well, that's what I think they're straying from it. And by the way, I will note,
you're straying from it. What, 6 months after giving Miles Bridges a contract?
I hear you. The Miles Bridges stuff to me is indefensible. The other stuff I can kind of live with, like Brandon Miller. Yeah, I mean. The other point I was going to bring up here real quick is I don't know if this says more about our guy Jared McCain or Con Knipple last night, but I saw an interview with McCain and Knipple on the red carpet, and they were looking eye to eye, same size in my mind. So maybe our boy McCain has grown a couple inches.
It would be nice to believe. I was shocked because Edlow hopped on the show and he was like, look at his combine numbers. He's floated out 6'7". I could not pin down what exactly his combine numbers were for height, but I don't think he's 6'5".
And from an athlete standpoint, Con had a higher vertical than Ace Bailey.
That's wild.
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
He's an underrated athlete. I mean, obviously, it's like, oh, this guy's a sneaky athlete. Like, how many times have we heard that about a white guy before?
Yeah.
But he is an underrated athlete because people are like, he can't defend. And it's true he can't defend because he doesn't move his feet laterally as well as you would like. But I think he has the capabilities to developing into a good defender because he's pretty athletic and he has length and he has height. And he's not like a weak guy. He's strong. So I think he can develop into a good defender, even though those are legitimate concerns.
All right. First round of 2025 NBA draft in the books. Saw 3 Duke players go in the top 10 and a record 18 freshmen get selected. What else is a big talking point for yesterday?
Do you know the last time 3 Duke players went in the top 10, the year and the 3 players? I know Sean knows over there. 2018.
18. Oh, Zion.
Draft, right? Zion.
RJ
Barrett, Cam Reddish. I have a pretty good feeling that these 3 are going to pan out better than those 3. Cam Reddish, non-factor.
No, you're right.
RJ Barrett.
Yeah.
up and down, and Zion never plays.
And this is
All right.
also an example of why you should not just take NBA basketball players or basketball's word as gospel. Is you ask any player in that draft class at the time of who's the toughest player to guard in this class, every single one of them answered Cam Reddish, and we see what he's up to these days.
You know, it's crazy because I kind
Philly
of
guy Cam Reddish.
Yeah, not to just poo-poo that, Sean, but staying with the Duke point. Like last night, I thought it would have made a bigger impact. It would have made the broadcast a bigger deal if Duke won the national championship.
Sure. True.
Yeah. But why? Like, what would have been different about the broadcast?
They won the Natty. Like it hit me when I was watching. I'm like, damn, dude, it hit me because I lost money on it. One, but two was like, damn, if they won the national championship and then you get those 3 players selected where they were in the top 10. Like, I just think it's another storyline that
even
people
though
could
they
have.
didn't win the national championship, I feel like this Duke team was so visible.
Yeah.
Like everyone knew these guys, and they made the Final Four one still. And it was such a collapse and heartbreaking loss that happened. Like everyone in the sports knew about it.
Thanks for reminding me.
So it was still visible that this Duke team. So I don't know if it would have made that much of a difference, but definitely would have been cooler.
Yeah, definitely would have been cooler. More of a storyline. Let's talk a little bit about Cooper Flagg and the expectations for him down there in Dallas. Right now, I'm not putting stock into what Kendrick Perkins says or anything along those lines, but that was a huge talking point for a lot of last night was, watch out. Dallas is going to be able to look Oklahoma City eye to eye. Yeah, there's a lot to like about the Dallas Mavericks, but like, let me ask you, from a standpoint of Oklahoma City, who would you fear more, Dallas or Houston?
Houston's not even a question.
Yeah.
The Dallas praise is getting a little out of hand, and I believe the quote from Nico Harrison was that just boiled my blood and made me so pissed, and I sent it to Barnard in the DMs. Nico Harrison said, "Fortune favors the bold" last night. Come on, man.
He is brutal.
Come on, man. Like, what are we doing?
Wow.
Fortune favors the bold, he said.
Wow.
After he made the worst trade in sports history, sending Luka Doncic out.
Wow.
The Mavs had a less than 2% chance of acquiring the number 1 pick in the draft. They got as lucky as any team has ever got in the history of the NBA by landing the number 1
I got
pick.
another word for luck,
And a
too.
generational rigged.
You said
rigged.
That was Sam Oshtry.
So it was just annoying and a ridiculous comment for him to make. But I'll also say the Mavs shouldn't be looked at as his contender. Starting next season, and we'll see what they're doing for agency, but starting next season, Cooper Flagg is the only perimeter creator they have on their team. They have a loaded front court, Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, who they just extended. But perimeter creators, Kyrie Irving is starting out the season with an ACL injury. When he comes back, whether that's February, March, whenever it is, who's to say he'll ever be the same player, have the explosiveness that he did before when he was playing really good basketball before? So Cooper Flagg to start the season is their only legitimate perimeter creator. That's a problem. The guy is an 18-year-old rookie, and I think he's going to be a generational player in the league, an perennial All-NBA guy. As a rookie, he's not capable of carrying that type of load as a perimeter scorer and playmaker. So I don't think this Mavs roster is properly constructed at all. I don't see them being a top 4 team in the West. I think Cooper Flagg is going to be awesome, but that's down the line, not immediately.
A lot of DraftKings specials, Sean Barnard here. Cooper Flagg to average 15-plus points per game. It's also tied in with the Dallas Mavericks to win the West. I would not recommend that. That's a 28-1. Nice payday there. Cooper Flagg to average 18 points per game, 6 rebounds per game. What's your outlook for year 1 for Cooper Flagg if he's healthy?
Yeah, the tough part is the rebounding numbers are going to be a little bit difficult to come by with how loaded their front court is with Derek Lively, with Anthony Davis, PJ Washington going to be in the mix, who's a very good rebounder as well. I agree with Sam's point that like this is not a finished product, the roster as a whole. I'm still pretty positive about the Mavericks in an overall direction that's a team that's just going to be brutal to face in a playoff series. Like I don't think even these top contenders will be looking forward to that. Like if it's Oklahoma City, like they're going to beat them up on the interior, and that's the entire model that Dallas is leaning on. With that said, like I don't view them as I would say legitimate threat in the West, at least at this point until they round out the guard rotation. I do see the vision, unfortunately, from a roster construction standpoint, but still the decision-making is pretty indefensible, and this must be viewed in history as a complete bailout that they won the lottery. Don't let it get talked about like there was a plan by Nico Harrison. He had a 1% chance of getting this draft pick and ultimately somehow worked out in his favor.
Let me ask you about this, because when he traded Luka, they were floating around 500, right? If not even worse.
Luka was hurt.
Luka was hurt
for a while.
But my point is, like, they could even hung on to Luka and potentially ended up with this pick, correct?
I mean, they were in the play-in. Like they were in the playing game and lost this year. Like that, they were in the mix.
Luka, they probably would have made a late run.
Yeah,
they probably would have made a late run because this Mavs team, Anthony Davis got hurt, and Kyrie got hurt. It was just disastrous. It was a miracle they were even in the play-in at that point. What I'll say about this Mavs group,
I do want to give credit to the Dallas Maverick fans. They were still chanting "Fire Nico" at the watch party. Good for them.
And they shouldn't stop into next season until he's fired.
I agree.
Because that perfectly segues to my next point is that, yes, the Mavs will be a good team next year with that front court. It's going to be hard to deal with, even though Anthony Davis can only play with Derek Lively or Daniel Gafford on the floor. And all three of those guys will never see the floor together. This Mavs team is set up for the short term. Anthony Davis is aging. Anthony Davis is also injury prone. Kyrie Irving is aging. As we know, he's coming off an ACL injury. Who is Cooper Flagg going to be playing with in 4 to 5 years? And it's such a short-term vision by Nico Harrison that as long as he's there, and again, the worst front office in the entire NBA after what they did this year, as long as Nico Harrison is there, I can't see them going in the right direction to surround Cooper Flagg with talent over the next 4 to 5 years. So it could be a situation in 5 or 6 years, we're looking at it, we're like, would Cooper Flagg actually not sign an extension with the Mavs because he might want out because of how poor this roster is around him? And Cooper Flagg's emerged as this all-NBA type player, but he has no help as opposed to what the Spurs have done, who have perfectly aligned Victor Wembanyama's timeline with the right young pieces, guys he can grow with. That doesn't exist for Cooper Flagg. So we're looking at a situation where they have really bad management who isn't properly looking at the long-term future, just looking at the short term. And the short-term future is good, but it's not good enough to contend for a title. So as long as Nico Harrison's there, I don't believe, and they still take this short-term vision and approach, I don't believe this is the right situation for Cooper Flagg.
All right. Well, a lot to chew on there. On the other side, we're going to come back. We're going to get into a little bit of Joel Embiid because from the press conference, the only thing that I took away was Daryl Morey saying that Joel Embiid will be already around, quote, around training camp. So Here we go. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Sam defined health to me yesterday, Sean Barnard. I want to get your take on that one for the 76ers next year, as far as a positive outlook is concerned. But we're also going to mix it up a little bit because I have somebody in studio that is a diehard Maryland alum who was pulling for a gentleman by the name of Derek Queen, who hit the only winning buzzer beater in the 2025 NCAA tournament, a solid player, a guy that I think will be a pretty good pro, but it was a hefty price to get him. And I don't understand why they didn't just draft him at 8. I'm talking about the Pelicans. It has been put out there last night from Bill Simmons and others, Mark Henry Jr. even hates it, that this was one of, if not the worst trade in the past decade, as far as the NBA draft is concerned, maybe as the NBA as a whole. Sam, I don't think is going to agree. As you just heard, Sean Menard has a little something to get off his chest. This is going to be fun. Ring the bell. A lot to do here. It's the Daily Ticket, all things NBA draft, 76ers on the other side. Phillies are currently in action, 1-0 Houston. Unbelievable. Can you hit the baseball? Please.
24 innings. 24 innings scoreless streak now.
That's insane.
24 innings? I saw it was 1-0 yesterday.
They're 1 for 19 with runners in scoring position in the 2 games. I haven't really paid attention to too much. What irks me the most about all this is the fact you got the pitching from Ranger, the outing from Wheeler, and now look at what Christopher Sanchez is doing right now, and you guys can't give them run support.
Astros are one of the best teams in baseball, right?
They are a good team, but still, man, the Phillies, come on. Well, maybe this is a wake-up call for Dave Dombrowski. Who knows? We got a lot to discuss. Don't go there. More Daily Ticket after this.
The Gambler. Philly's home for all things sports.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th. Streaming live only on Hulu. Starring John Fogerty, Bryan Adams, Sammy Hagar, Mariah Carey, Tim McGraw, Jelly Roll, Ed Sheeran, and more. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Superstar performances and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Get your iHeartRadio Music Festival tickets now at AXS.com.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
It's crawling on the westbound Schuylkill past Young to South with a disabled vehicle in the left lane. Further west, Jam Boulevard to Belmont, eastbound, Stop and Go Boulevard to South. 95 northbound back to Girard to Bridge, southbound Jan Cottman past the Betsy Ross. Liar to tell a total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Shop Mattress Firm's July 4th sale and reclaim your restless nights. Choose from a curated premium selection of mattresses to find just the upgrade you're looking for. Get matched, sleep at night.
Are you like millions of Americans who avoided filing their taxes this year because you're afraid you'll owe the IRS thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars? Well, you don't need to be afraid anymore. Tax Relief Advocates has the solution. We can file your back tax years and may be able to reduce or even eliminate what you owe. With over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, we've helped over 100,000 Americans just like you permanently and painlessly resolve their IRS debt. A resolution specialist is waiting to speak to you now, who will let you know what tax debt reduction you may qualify for. Don't wait. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call our tax relief hotline now to see what you qualify for at 800-511-2503. 800-511-2503. Again, that's 800-511-2503. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Do you own or manage a business here in Philadelphia? Are you unsure where to start when it comes to advertising? Well, here's a surprise. Fox Sports The Gambler, your local iHeart station, is the one place you can get it all. Hey, it's Sean Brace, and we can help with everything from radio and podcast ads to social media and digital. And we can even get local voices like mine spreading the word about your business. So if you're looking for someone to take care of it all, do yourself a favor right now. Call 844-844-iHeart or visit iHeartAdvertising.com today.
You see what I see, love?
Her grandson splashing his mom with a cannonball?
You. Having heart failure is hard enough, but now you're having trouble opening the sunscreen. Carpal tunnel acting up again?
Yep, and there are my stomach issues. And how tired I am. I could use a nap.
Let's take a dip, and then we're calling your cardiologist to see what's going on, okay?
If you have heart failure and something's off, it may be ATTR-CM or transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis. It's a serious heart condition that gets worse over time. Vindamax, tafamidis, is a prescription pill taken once a day to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization for heart problems. Tell your doctor about all your medications, medical conditions, and if you have liver problems or breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be. There are no known side effects with Vindamax. For prescribing information, call 1-877-278-9632. Learn more at Vindamax.com.
Seeing what I see? Ask your doctor about ATTR-CM.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
You've got an app for your music, but what about your favorite morning show, sports team, or live local news and weather?
Things start to change.
Yep, there's an app for all that too. iHeartRadio. Download the #1 app for radio, the free iHeartRadio app.
Now at Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years guaranteed on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Stuck in the same day-to-day routine? Wake up, go to work, eat, sleep, repeat? Break through the boredom this summer and download Call of Duty Mobile for free. Enjoy fan-favorite maps, modes, and operators from classic Call of Duty titles, plus new mobile-exclusive content. Today doesn't have to suck. Cure your boredom for free with Call of Duty almost anywhere, anytime. Call of Duty Mobile is available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play Store for free today. Rated M for mature.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
So the Portland Trailblazers select Colin Coward here. This is a young man.
Oh, yeah, Malik Andrews. Ouch. We've all made mistakes, some on bigger stages than others. I will say that Kevin Nagandi screwing up the draft lottery was light years beyond that stumble.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pretty funny stuff there as Sean Barnard. Sorry, turning your mic back on. But yeah, last night, just a funny error. I bet behind the scenes, they probably joked about like, wow, he's really looks like Colin Cowherd. And then she said it. What can you tell me about that kid? He's got an interesting story as well.
Yeah, he was playing Division III basketball 3 years ago. He spent 3 seasons, pretty low level. He was going to be a commit to Duke. They were a guy that was like signed on and expected, but then felt out the pre-draft process. Really high character kid. And the number one thing that like stands out to me is there's this cool letter floating around from when he was a recruit and a very under-recruited guy, really carving his lane. And it's just kind of a very self-aware. The letter like broke down his family history, how he's got family members that were Olympians. He comes from this strong line of athletes, him as a person, how hard he wants to compete. And I mean, he's 6'7" with a 7'2" wingspan and pretty like self-aware. Like he was asked directly by Kevin O'Connor, like, why is it that you were kind of off the radar? And he was like, to be completely honest, I just wasn't that good. Like I was a late bloomer. It took me a little bit to get to this level, but a dude that everyone who's talked to seems to absolutely fall in love with him. So Cedric Cowherd, a very cool story. The only thing I'm skeptical about is we've yet to like see him look the part when sharing the floor with these top level like teams and players here, but we'll be rooting for him and a cool story there.
All right, good stuff.
Select Colin Cowherd here.
All right, sorry, Malika. All right, but let's have some fun with that because we all want to play program director of ESPN, right? If you told me, hey man, what's your dream job behind the scenes, not in front of a camera, I would say run ESPN. Like that's the mothership. There's nothing bigger. You should have endless amount of money to spend. You should be able to get anybody you want. And they have chosen the route to get behind guys with big personalities, huge followings, but they have made it a little easier than what I think it should be with their decisions by going all in with guys like McAfee and Stephen A. And I don't have to go into that further than that. It's just honest. It's the assessment that we have in front of us right now. And we're able to judge with our own eyes. And I know that they're trying to mix in a little bit more from the player perspective, getting rid of around the horn. I throw my hands up in the air because you have like the endless amount of experts that you can choose from. Like you can go ahead and take somebody from podcasting fame, somebody that's making a name for himself, the Sam Oshtry, Sean Barnard, pop them up there on a Tuesday, and next thing you know, they're through the roof, right? Like this is what you are capable of. But instead, they decide to roll out on the main broadcast Kendrick Perkins, Malika Andrews, who does a great job. I'm not here to criticize. Again, we're talking just as with honest here. There's nothing underneath. Like there's no misogyny. Like let's just be honest about everything right now. It was not a good broadcast last night, and I'm not the only one that says okay, thank you.
It was awful. The consensus was it was awful because it was awful.
All right. So Kendrick Perkins, number one, got to go.
Yeah.
Got to go. There's just no reason for Kendrick Perkins. That's step one. You need an NBA guy though, right? You need an NBA guy?
I don't even necessarily think so, to be perfectly honest. Like if you get analysts and guys like the Jonathan Gavonis or the guys that really do the homework on things, to me that provides way more value than a guy just doing, well, back when I played and having those conversations. And I'll also note the biggest miss of the night, not making Kendrick Perkins pronounce Kasparis Giannakoulis there. That was a huge miss.
Well, that's the big soundbite from 3 years ago when he butchered
Mose Moody.
Yeah.
Such an easy name to say.
Yeah,
and that's Moody.
That's literally on his greatest hits album, And again, I'm not trying to make myself out to be Bob Costas because I'm not. But again, this is ESPN. This is the NBA draft. Okay, like you got to be better. And Kendrick Perkins, number one, got to go. All right, Malika. This is my criticism of her. She's just too stretched out. You just said it. The NBA Finals just finished up. This is the NBA draft where college players are front and center. Like I need someone that knows these players, these coaches, these names. And it's not to say that she can't learn it and she's not studying hard and she's not great. She's very smooth at what she does. Very good looking too, if we're honest with everything, right? I get it. But I'm sorry, I need more focus on the college players, the college game, the ins and outs. There are plenty of other people, both men and women, that could have done the job better. That's all. Is that a fair criticism?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Malika's a superstar.
She
she is a brilliant, great host, and she's
great.
become the face of hosting NBA
This
coverage.
is an ESPN deal.
This
is not me ripping on her. This is an ESPN
and
deal.
she's become the host of ESPN's NBA coverage, like the face of all of that, and she does a great job with it. The problem is that ESPN is making this a strictly NBA event and the draft, so which is why they put her out there, but it shouldn't be. And it's putting Malika in a really unfair position because she's an NBA person. The NBA season finished 2 days ago,
correct,
or on Sunday. Like, she just went through an entire NBA season. She's not watching any college basketball throughout the year. We all know that because she's focused in the NBA. It's not her job to watch college basketball. So now she has to cram in all this prep while the finals are going on, the 2 days in between the finals and the draft, and she doesn't know these people. So it's really unfair to put her in that situation. And then she has moments where, like not even the Colin Coward, that's just a slip up. Like, people just slip up. It was very obvious she did not know who a lot of these prospects were. And that's ESPN for putting her in that unfair situation where she has to cram all that prep. Same thing with Kendrick Perkins. His job is to discuss the NBA throughout the year. And I don't love Kendrick Perkins' analysis at all. I think he just spews a lot of nonsense and things for clicks, which obviously we know that's the game, and he plays the game really well. But at least we know he's watching the NBA. Like, he's legitimately watching NBA games. He's not watching any college basketball games throughout the year. The NBA season just finished. He's not doing any prep on these guys. He doesn't know them at all.
None.
So now it's another NBA guy that you're just putting in a bad position. And Kendrick can be entertaining no matter what.
He ain't Charles Barkley, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not
Like,
Charles Barkley.
can talk about something he doesn't know about while being entertaining.
Yeah, he's not Charles. That's what they
He's
want.
not even close to Charles Barkley. Not even in the same stratosphere as a personality as Charles Barkley. So the solution and the fix is you put Reese Davis up there.
Well, hold up.
Who used to host the draft.
Okay, Reese, I like. Reese does a great job. You're
He
right.
used to host the draft, and he hosts College Game Day throughout the season, so he's very familiar with college players and prospects. You leave Jay Billis. He's been a staple in the
Jay Billis stays.
You put Bob Myers from ABC, who I couldn't watch the ABC broadcast because Stephen A. Smith is another guy who's never watched a college basketball game in his life. And so he's spewing about these guys, saying Jeremiah Fears is the next Kyrie Irving. When did Jeremiah Fears develop a jump shot last time I checked? He's never watched a single second of a Jeremiah Fears Oklahoma game.
So that's where Stephen A was on 6A on ABC. I watched the ESPN.
I watched the ESPN
feed.
as well. But Stephen A was on ABC with Bob Myers. The reason why I bring them up is because you bring Bob Myers over to the main ESPN desk. And then look, I don't love Jay Williams, but Jay Williams is a legitimate college and NBA guy.
Correct.
And I know I could trust him, and he's good on TV. He's talented, entertaining, all that.
Yeah.
So you put Reese Davis there, you put Jay Williams, Jay Billis, and then you got Bob Myers. There's obviously a glaring problem with that desk that ESPN will never let go, and the fans would never let go. But that would be my ideal desk.
No woman at the desk.
Correct.
Understood. And Andrea Carter is fantastic at what she does. She is a college women's basketball. Look, I pulled it up right here. It's Google. Andrea Carter is a prominent figure in ESPN's college basketball coverage, particularly for women's basketball.
Yeah, and she actually is on College Game Day for men this year.
She is.
She was.
Okay, good.
And she does a decent job with that.
Yeah,
but
she
she's
does.
not NBA. She's not an NBA person. You need someone who's both. You can't be one or the other. You need someone who's both, and that's Jay Williams.
The talent.
Andrea Carter's fine, but
I get it.
It's also the whole broadcast. Not to keep criticizing everyone, but the person who was interviewing these people. There's a lot better people out there in terms of their talent. Monica McNutt.
See. So
I like
I'll push back on that because I that is a tough position. You're not. Who else is going to get better from
it used to be way better. Lisa Salters was way better at it. There's a lot of interviewers who are.
Everybody
way
was
better
crying yesterday. Like it was a tough spot for Monica.
It was a cry. And look, Monica's really talented at what she does.
She is.
When she's on ESPN, Get Up.
Great.
She's great. When she's on the Knicks radio broadcast, she's great. That interviewing role isn't great for her. And she's also a Terp, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, you should
praise
hear
a Terp earlier. I've met her, and she's great. She's awesome.
I didn't even know that.
No,
Shame on you, Sam.
She's great, but there's certain roles that people can fill, and that's not one.
And Sean, I'll come to you to put a bow on this. My only take on that is I don't care who you put in that role. That's a tough spot. You're not getting anything.
But Malika's great at that interviewing role.
Okay,
great. So if you want to put Reese on the desk, make Malika the interviewer.
Oh yeah, Taylor Rooks, but she was sitting down. You know, this is your draft. Cooper Flagg. Did you see that interview? Like, dude, you're the #1 overall pick, and he didn't give her anything. Like, come on, man. That's a tough position. I think Monica held it down as much as possible. I have less criticism about that than the 4 people that are on the desk. We tune in. You guys are the ones that are giving us information. And I think it's really interesting. If there's one thing that I could send to ESPN, the powers that be, is exactly what you said, Sean. I don't know if you need that NBA guy. I think you do, But I think you're right. If you do it the right way and you get the people that know the college game and can talk about both and are educated on both the NBA, those people do exist. I got two of them right now on the show with me. You know, you're not the only two out there in the world. God bless you both. You do a great job. Future's bright for both of you gentlemen. It won't shock me if you're on the damn ESPN coverage in years to come. But bottom line is, come on, ESPN. You're better than what you were last night. And that's the thing that really irks the hell out of me, because you're ESPN, the mothership. Act like it, please.
Yeah, and the two guys that I think, and for starters, agree with on the interview point, I think that's an impossible situation where these guys are crying, these guys are emotional. I think every player has kind of a different response for what you can even get out of them, so it's kind of difficult in those specific shoes. The two guys that I think are the best at breaking down and covering the draft, and it will not happen with ESPN because they've already left the building here, but it's Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo. Those are the guys that I want to hear. No, for you, Brent?
I'm not a Bill Simmons. I never was. I'm with you. I get it. He's got a great following. He's not afraid. This is what I talked about earlier. It's a fine line. Bill Simmons is a little bit too over the top, a little too emotional. It's not about you, Bill. They're the players. You got to walk that fine line.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean, where everyone's good in their role. Like, Bill Simmons is the GOAT podcaster. When he did the draft coverage, I didn't like it. And he also admits that he doesn't watch any college basketball throughout the season. And he does like a little bit of prep a couple weeks before the draft. So he doesn't really know these guys.
I would love to see what that little bit is, too.
I bet it's more than you would guess.
Russillo was making fun of him on the podcast. I listen to them every Sunday when they do the podcast together. Russillo was making fun of him because he was saying he was watching highlights of a guy. And Russillo was like, you don't have synergy? Like, how can you not get synergy to break some of these guys down? Like, you don't even use synergy. You just watch highlights of these guys. And so Russillo was making fun of him for that, which kind of shows you how much prep he actually does. But Simmons just is like reactionary, and he's good as a podcaster. I didn't love when he was on the draft coverage, even though he's really entertaining.
Yeah.
I think that matters. Him being really entertaining matters.
What's your ideal desk? Simmons and Russillo? I mean, what's your ideal realistic desk?
Simmons, Russillo, Jay Billis, and then somebody playing point.
Reese Davis?
Billis either?
Billis
stays. Billis stays. To be honest with you, if I had my pick, I think I'm trying to get SVP involved.
I like that.
He could, instead of Reese Davis, he could host it.
He knows these kids. He watches college hoops. He wagers on it. He knows the NBA. He's front and center. I know he needed a week off. You could potentially be rolling into a Malik Andrews situation where a dude was just broadcasting live from Oklahoma City.
But he did a show. He did the post-draft show.
Okay, yeah.
SVP did the post-draft show.
You're right.
He's great. He's great at everything.
Again, it's not easy, but you are ESPN, dude. Be better. That's all we're saying.
I just don't think they prioritize the event. I don't think they care that much. And it's an event that the NBA also clearly doesn't prioritize because it's 2 days after the NBA Finals just finished up. So that's what I mean by, I've been saying it forever, the NBA doesn't prioritize good events.
If I had Commissioner Silver right here, he would push back on that.
Yeah, he would.
But of course he would. But it's true. Like, how can you have the draft 2 days after the NBA Finals?
Next week?
Get some distance. Yeah, next week.
And that's going to be
free agency
4th of July weekend. You want to do it 4th of July?
Free agency a few days. There needs to be some distance between those two events. We just went from the NBA Finals at Game 7.
I agree.
And then we have to go to the draft. That's not
when
advertising
summer leagues start
and promoting your events. I say you push it all back a little bit.
Okay.
What's more of a problem though? Is it the draft happening 3 days after the NBA Finals are concluded, or is it Kevin Durant being traded on the day of Game 7 of the Finals?
All of it's problematic. All of it's problematic because now 3 of the biggest things in the NBA happened: Kevin Durant trade, the draft, and a Game 7 of the NBA Finals, first time in almost a decade. All those happened in a 3-day span.
Yeah.
If the NBA really wants to promote itself as good as it possibly can, all those different events, you're making a week out of all of them. And of course, that's not always realistic, but those are massive events that all happen within a 3-day span. There's not enough time to dissect and discuss all of it.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and
select Colin Coward here.
We'll move off of that. All right. I got my last one in. Okay. Good stuff across the board. I think that was a good, honest discussion, boys. And we'll just leave it at that. And we'll see if they read the comments, if they are interested in criticism, because there was a lot of that out there.
ESPN isn't, but the NBA usually is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good
NBA
stuff.
definitely is.
All right. Criticism. The New Orleans Pelicans are taking a lot of that with the trade that they just made for your boy, their queen, Sam Oshtry. I made the mistake. I said they had the 8th pick. It was the 7th pick. And that's where I want to start to Sam because Sam right now is going to take the side up for the New Orleans Pelicans, who selected Jeremiah Fears, the next Kyrie Irving, at 7. And my question to you, Sam, is if they loved Derek Queen so much, why didn't you just select him there at 7 and then let the rest, fall where it may? Or do you think it was Fears above all? Do you agree with that? Like Fears should be in front of Derek Queen? But in the long-winded question here for you too as well, what they gave up, people are saying that this is one of the worst drafts in NBA history, NBA draft in the past decade, so on and so forth. So your take on everything from the criticism that the Pelicans are taking, and at the end of the day, if they got a great player, what are we saying in 5 years?
This is real prisoner of the moment type stuff. And I'm not the guy to zag usually on this stuff, but everybody and their mother are killing the Pelicans like they just made some monumentally horrible decision. I mean, the reaction to this is almost as bad as the Luka trade. That's how much the Pelicans are getting killed in Joe Dumars' first draft when he took over running that Pelicans show. It's not that bad of a trade, guys.
That's crazy. Sam, that's crazy. That's crazy.
All right. And let me explain to you why. Because it's a fair question. If you really like Derek Queen, why don't you take him at 7? Maybe this is giving the Pelicans too much credit. But if I'm the Pelicans, I know that there's not a lot of interest in Derek Queen after 7. So I can take Jeremiah Fears here. I know if we get into the early teens, Derek Queen will still be on the board and I can have a trade up opportunity. So really how you evaluate this trade, and look, I'll let you break it down of the unprotected pick and all that stuff, and I'll respond to that. But really how you evaluate this trade is what you think of Derek Queen as a prospect. And you don't like him as a prospect, so you're going to think it's an awful trade. Someone like me who thinks he can be a top 5 player in this draft class loves him as a prospect, so I understand the trade. So how you view the trade is how much you love Derek Queen as a prospect. If you love Derek Queen as a prospect, which we know the Pelicans absolutely do. Troy Weaver is the vice president. He is a guy who came up from the Wizards. There is not an executive in the entire NBA who spent more time scouting Derek Queen throughout the season, going to Maryland games and practices because he was right down the road with the Wizards front office. So there's not an executive who knows Derek Queen more than Troy Weaver. Troy Weaver obviously really liked Derek Queen. So yes, they gave up an unprotected first-round pick next year. But if you're looking at it from the Pelicans perspective, you just took 2 guys off the board in this draft class who were probably top 8 guys on your board. So yeah, you're sacrificing that first-round pick next year. But when you get 2 guys who are top 8 on the board this year, it's worth it. And yes, that pick should be good next year. It'll probably be a lottery pick. I don't think the Pelicans are going to make the playoffs, but I also don't think the Pelicans are going to be as bad as everyone seems to think. I think if that pick is around 12 to 14, it's worth it from the Pelicans perspective because you just got 2 guys you consider top 8 prospects in this class while sacrificing next year's pick. So I don't understand why this is being criticized. There are some things that are questionable about it, like they didn't put protections on the pick, all that stuff. Probably wasn't the best negotiation by the Pelicans.
Kind of
a big part of it.
But it's being talked about like this is a generationally bad trade. It's just not. It's not.
All right, let me break this down. I want to separate this in 2 separate conversations.
I wish I could see you right now, by the way. I can't see
you. Where's your computer?
I can hear you.
Seb, 2 separate conversations here. For starters, take Derek Queen out of the equation entirely here. They had the 23rd pick. They got to the 13th pick. In order to move up 10 spots in the draft, they gave up an unprotected first-round pick. That is just bad business in general. And to keep in mind where that unprotected first-round pick will be, what is the best-case scenario for where the Pelicans will be next year? What is the ultimate things work out 100% right? Where do they rank in the Western Conference? Because I still don't think it's a playoff team.
Like absolute best case could be an 8 seed.
Yeah, but that's not. But going through their mind, they're saying like, you know what, man, we're gunning. Who knows? Sky's the limit.
I don't think this roster
could be a playoff team.
Like DeJounte Murray's come back healthy. If Zion's healthy,
they got Poole. They got beat up.
I don't love Jordan Poole, but he is a good talent.
A lot
of
bad
Herb
injuries.
Jones. You got Trey Murphy. When you got these 2 rookies coming in, it's not some awful team.
I mean, look at the Western Conference. Do they have a chance against the Thunder, the Rockets, the Spurs, the
I'm
Mavericks?
not saying they're contender. I'm just saying they're the best case scenario. They could be an 8 seed.
But put yourself in their position, Sean. That's my point. Is like, you know what? They're not thinking about missing the playoffs next year. They're thinking about.
I think you have to. I think you have to think about this for what is the value of this first-round pick we just gave away? Where are we finishing in the standings for where this pick will be? And I think there's like a pretty high chance that this is a top 10 pick next year. So you gave up next year a potential top 10 pick to move up 10 slots in the draft to get Derek Queen. Forget the Derek Queen side of things. Objectively, that is horrible business.
You can't just say forget the Derek Queen.
I got to push back on that.
You can't say forget
it's
the Derek
the guy
Queen
they
side
wanted. They
All
wanted.
right, then we'll bring in the Derek Queen conversation.
Well, no,
How
real
does he
quick,
play next to Zion Williamson?
Real quick, before we bring in the Derek Queen conversation, if you're going, say, oh yeah, they moved up 10 spots, it completely depends how you view the prospect you might get at 23 versus the guy who was definitely top 8 on their board at 13. So it's not just 10 spots, it's how big is the gap that they viewed the prospect of Derek Queen versus potentially who they could get at 23. Like, I forget, around that age range was like a Will Riley or someone.
All right, so we'll bring in the Derek Queen conversation. How in the world is it effective basketball for him and Zion Williamson to be on the court together?
So Zion's at his best when he's running the point, which we're going to see a lot of next year. Because
sounds like what you told me about Derek Queen as well, if I remember correctly.
I didn't say he runs the point. I said he operates as the hub. I said he can operate as a hub. So the
big ass hub too.
Yves Missy made decent strides last year as a rookie. He was pretty good for the Pelicans, honestly, as a center. Pairing him with Derek Queen, I think, is a pretty good 4-5 combo. And if Zion's running the point as a downhill threat, I actually think that him and Derek Queen could work together in a decent manner. Yeah, Zion Williams isn't a shooter, but as dribble handoffs,
guys that can't shoot.
Roll, I think those guys are not like an awful fit. I'm not saying that they're like Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid type fit, but they're a decent fit.
I do want to bring up the fact that Drake Powell out of North Carolina did go for 23.
Yeah. And real quick, so for starters, that's 3 guys that can't shoot in the same lineup there with all of them. Derek Queen, no sample size from 3 and under 20. I think he shot 20% directly there. I also the hub of the offense conversation. Me and Sam hashed this out on one of our one-on-one shows here. But Sean Brace, so Sam and the biggest Derek Queen supporters continue to paint this case that this dude can be a hub of an offense in the half court. The facts are the facts here. He averaged 1.9 assists per game at the college level. He had a negative assist to turnover ratio. He never had more than 5 assists in a game. And 19 of his 36 games, he had 1 assist or fewer. That is not a guy that is a hub of the offense. That's just not.
Yeah, that sounds like that's
as I explained to Barnard, is that hub of the offense and what you're looking at from the college perspective, passing instincts matter. Like, that's what I want to look at when it translates. And there was so many times where Derek Queen made dimes, whether it's to Julian Reese operating as the 5 or as shooters, and those guys couldn't make plays. It's the instincts that you want to see. That's what you look at when you're going to be like, oh, how will this guy translate as a passer? And when I say operate as the hub of the offense, like, he's not going to be doing that immediately for the Pelicans. That's something he can develop into when he grows as a passer, as a ball handler, as a screener, in all these areas. He's not day one going to be operating as a hub, but that's his potential. He has those capabilities. Like, this is a guy who is a tremendous footwork, tremendous touch around the rim, can put the ball on the floor, drive to the rim. He has great passing instincts, as I said. Good free throw shooter, could potentially develop a 3-point shot. You don't pass on big men around 6'9", 6'10", big men who are that skilled. Like, you just don't. I think this guy ceiling is so high, which is why I don't think the Pelicans trade is that absurd.
Well, that's where it definitely starts and ends with you, no doubt about it. I would also say a big man ending up in New Orleans. That's look,
he's got
already. Who weighs more by the end of the year, Derek Queen or Zion Williamson? Who weighs more?
It's a fair question.
The memes are pretty good.
If anyone weighs as much as Zion Williamson, it's a problem. But
Derek Queen, showed up overweight and out of shape to the combine. Derek Queen.
Yes, that's another.
Okay, wait. I don't think he's overweight, but he does have conditioning concerns. That's not like an overweight thing. That's just he has conditioning concerns, and there are concerns about his motor and all that stuff. What I'll ask you is that if Derek Queen ends up being,
dude, you need to be like working with his agent,
his front man. Yeah,
so you're trying here. I give you credit for trying, Sam.
We got to cut and send this, man. This is good stuff here.
Sean, if Derek Queen ends up being the player I'm projecting him to be, let's just play my fantasy world for a second, all right? Then is this still a bad trade? If that let's say that I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. That Pelicans pick is 10 next year, but Derek Queen ends up being maybe never an all-star, but like an Alperen Sengun type, who's a borderline all-star every year and a really good, impactful player. One of the best teams on one of the best teams in the West is what Alperen Sengun was last year. So if Derek Queen actually ends up being that, is this still a bad trade?
If he reaches the high levels, you can talk yourself into it. I still don't see a world where that's a player that maximizes Zion Williamson or they're compatible players. Like, honestly, just straight up, if I was ranking teams 1 through 30 for what is the worst location for Derek Queen, he's probably in that bottom 5 for New Orleans being that spot here. Like, I don't see how him and Zion can coexist whatsoever. So is this a decision that you're moving forward from Zion Williamson? Is this you're taking the next step in that? To me, it hints more towards that side of things than anything, because like even the best case scenario for Derek Queen, I don't see it with Zion.
Well, I see it the complete opposite way, because they just gave up their unprotected first-round pick next year. So that's saying we can't get rid of Zion because we're not entering tank mode. We're going all in a way with this team, and we're going to build around Zion, because if they trade him, then you're signaling a tank mode, and then you don't have a first-round pick next year. So that would really be mismanagement if they go that direction.
This has a not. Don't kill me for this comparison or even bringing up this analogy. The only thing I would say is this has the vibe to me, of when the Giants drafted Saquon. Everybody was so against it. It was the worst move ever. Saquon's a hell of a player.
Derek Queen needs Saquon Barkley.
I mean, it's running backs aren't as valuable as big men.
Understood.
Who can pass and put the ball on the floor.
But in the long run, my big point is though, Sean, it's if the player turns into what you think that player could potentially be, which Saquon did, regardless of what that team's success was, BS. It's the right pick. If you get a player that turns into a stud, who cares? Now, on the flip side of that, if there's one league that we know that these assets actually amount to something, these second-round picks, Sam Hinkie did teach us that. One thing he did teach us is you got to stockpile those assets. Look at what Oklahoma City is doing right now. That's where I would push back on you and say, man, that's a big ask what they gave up.
And by the way, Pelicans incredibly sensitive about this. So Shams went on the Pat McAfee show today, and he was asked about this trade. And Shams' quote is, "How can you judge that? What if he ends up being a Hall of Famer? What if he ends up being a perennial All-Star? There's no one going to be talking about this in 3 years. To me, it's too early to judge if they won or lost," which is basically Sam's message there. The main Pelicans team account quote tweets that and says, "This rationale won't get you a ringer pod, Shams."
I dig
the main Pelicans account.
I think it's good. Nice work by the.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty
digital
funny
people over there.
It is Bill and Ryan who are leading the charge. This is the dumbest trade in history.
It's your guy that you want to run the NBA draft. He would have ripping your play.
Them both, but I completely disagree with them on this. Again, it's all about how you view Derek Queen as a prospect.
Okay,
but I just need everyone to understand it from the Pelicans' perspective. That Troy Weaver, the guy who's making the decisions over there, probably more so than Joe Dumars, loves Derek Queen. He wanted Derek Queen. They see Derek Queen as a potential all-star in the league.
Then draft him at 7.
Okay. Well, no, because they knew that he wasn't going to be available and they would have a trade-up opportunity. So why not get 2? And I don't like Jeremiah Fears at all. So that I didn't like that pick. But why not get 2 potential first-round, 2 potential top 10 picks in their minds if you can? So that's all I want people to understand from the Pelicans' perspective, is that they see you can justify this trade if you see Derek Queen as a future all-star, which they do. And if he becomes that, then people won't be like, oh, they gave up a second round, or they gave up an unprotected first next year.
Correct.
Oh, but the guy who they actually went up to get, and it was a hefty price for him, became an all-star. So it's not that crazy of a trade. And that's how the Pelicans project it. If you think Derek Queen is not going to be good, which you obviously, that's your thought process, Sean, then you can understand why it's a dumb trade. And a lot of people would say it's a dumb trade, but the Pelicans don't see it that way. So their justification, rationale actually makes sense. Like, I can understand where they're coming from. That's my only point.
Why take them at 7 when you can trade next year's first round to get them?
That's the only thing that really hits me. If you love this guy and you think he's going to turn into what Sam just said, draft him at 7. And honestly, I thought he was going to go higher, even though it did steam up to 11.5 on DraftKings Sportsbook. Congratulations to anyone that took over, including this cat, Giles, who cashed in a big way last night. There were a couple plays that he was able to fire on. Yeah, Derek Queen, he took him to go 13th overall, which wasn't a reach. He was under 11.5, so it's like 12, 13. If you want to sprinkle a little on both, no one would have had an issue with that.
But the problem was the Hawks would have never taken him. They just didn't need a guy like Derek Queen. Yeah.
So plus 3,300 had paid out.
Yeah, that's
interesting.
Unbelievable. I told you yesterday he was going to the Pelicans.
But then he sprinkled a little bit on the fact that he could possibly see a trade there. So he deserves.
So he definitely deserves.
I want to give him a lot of credit, man. He cashed in a couple of them. He also had One guy that we didn't talk about, man, Walter Clayton. I was killing myself that we didn't talk about him yesterday. Shame on me. Obviously had a huge run with Florida, and that was a huge talking point for a lot of March. Where is he going to end up? And then he went, one of his top plays was top 20 bet, which ended up paying out a pretty significant number. Plus 700 to be a top 20 pick.
Wow.
So he cashed that and Derek Queen at plus 3,313.
It's a profitable night for him.
Hell yeah, it is. Hey, Gov Shapiro, if you're listening, if you're watching, please, Pennsylvania, we want to wager on the NBA draft.
Well, you guys should have told him on Sunday.
Well, he was kind of busy. That's all right. Sean Barnard, you're more than welcome to stick around if you want. We're gonna go take a quick time out. We're late for a break. It's up to you.
Sounds like we're gonna finish this on Monday because I don't think Bernard's done with me. So it sounds like we're gonna finish this on Monday. I don't know if nothing else to talk about too.
On the other side, we're gonna bring it back to Philadelphia. We're gonna talk about Embiid being ready right around training camp. Oh, here we go. It's the Daily Ticket. Sam Oshtry, Sean Barnard. I am Sean Brace. More after this. Summertime is here, and who needs a cool grand in their hand? Fox Sports The Gambler has you covered. Listen weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and at the top of every hour for your shot to win $1,000. Once you hear the keyword for that hour, get on over to foxphlgambler.com and enter to win a grand in your hand. Once again, that's 9 times a day for your chance to win $1,000. Nobody does it like Fox Sports The Gambler in Philly.
I'm Dr. Damon Tanton for Viome. Viome's full body intelligence test is the new science in anti-aging and life-extending insights. Viome analyzes your biological age to see if your body is aging too rapidly. You'll learn how making simple, precise changes in certain foods and supplements can, get this, slow your aging, keep you looking young, and help prevent future health issues. Next, Viome doctors design supplements specifically to your body's needs. Their job is to slow down and help reverse how fast your body is aging. And your Viome microbiome test reveals why you have stomach issues, don't sleep well, have low energy, even why you can't lose weight and more. Viome reboots your body to live longer, live healthier, and look younger.
Viome is changing lives. Order your full body intelligence test online and save $50. Viome guarantees rapid, remarkable health improvements your doctor will notice. Visit Viome.com, promo code THRIVE. That's VIOME.com, promo code THRIVE.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Michael Delbane, the president and CEO of Welcome America. Welcome America is a public-private partnership with the city of Philadelphia. We're a nonprofit organization whose mission is to conceptualize, plan, and deliver the city of Philadelphia's largest annual celebrations. That includes Wawa Welcome America around July 4th. It includes the Philly Holiday Experience and other special projects throughout the year. Our job is to build community, bring neighbors and neighborhoods together, and provide an opportunity for Philadelphians to celebrate together. The way that we engage the community is we make sure that everything that we do at Wawa Welcome America, from tiny little events in communities all the way up to the concert and fireworks on the Parkway, are 100% free of charge. We remove all of the economic and financial barriers to participate in these celebrations. During the festival, over the course of 16 days, we will also make over 40 museums and cultural institutions around the city available completely free of charge through our free museum program. It's really an opportunity for people to come together to celebrate. We want to make sure that people can do this without having to worry about the price of a ticket. July4thphilly.com. That's our website. It's got a complete lineup of our entire 16-day festival. It's got little hints about things that are coming in the future, as well as our social media channels, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all July4thphilly.com and hashtag July4thphilly.
Comcast Business, powering the engine of modern business, powering possibilities.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
When you're trying to find quality candidates, all the searching, screening, and interviewing can become a job itself. You need Indeed, the all-in-one platform that makes it easy to interview, screen, and hire quality people. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Hey, this is Lincoln Kennedy. Here's what's trending on the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Mercedes-Benz.
New Sixers guard BJ Edgecombe says he didn't know he was headed to Philly until just seconds before his name was called at the draft last night. Eagles offensive lineman Kendall Lamb took to social media this week to clear the air after a website posted fake quotes from him about his last team. And Taylor Swift made a surprise appearance at this week's Tight End University camp hosted by her boyfriend Travis Kelce, performing her hit, Shake It Off there. I'm Scott Davidson.
The Mercedes-Benz Dream Days are back with offers on vehicles like the 2025 E-Class, CLE Coupe, C-Class, and EQE Sedan. Hurry in now through July 31st. Visit your local authorized dealer or learn more at mbusa.com/dream.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Good afternoon. Thursday drive home. Already a lot of volume out there. But you handle the Walt Whitman into New Jersey. Down to 42 south at Lower Landing Road. Westbound Schuylkill, bumper to bumper driving there to the Vine Expressway, Boulevard to Belmont. Eastbound heavy Blue Route to Belmont, then Jam Boulevard to south. Busy on the Vine Expressway, both ways, Schuylkill to Broad. 95 northbound, so Girard Point Bridge to Penn's Landing. Then stop and go Girard up the bridge. Southbound Jan Copman to the Betsy Rawson, so 420 to 320. Artotella total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Amazon Prime Day.
If you love deals, you'll love this. Prime Day is lasting 4 days this year. That's 4 days of unbelievable deals in every category you can think of. So you can save big on everything you're into. Shop Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
Today doesn't have to suck. Break through your day-to-day boredom by downloading Call of Duty Mobile for free and enjoy fun gameplay featuring fan-favorite Call of Duty maps, modes, and operators, plus tons of new mobile content anywhere, anytime. Available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Download for free now. Rated R.
The Big Three is back this Sunday on CBS and Vice. Fast-paced, physical 3-on-3. Michael Beasley, Dwight Howard, Lance Stevenson, Frank Nitti, Paul Millsap, Mario Chalmers, Jordan Crawford, Jason Richardson, Joe Johnson, Montrezl Harrell, and more. Live on CBS, 1 p.m. Eastern.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Lowe's knows July 4th savings are worth celebrating. Right now, get up to 40% off select major appliances and get an additional 10% off 2 or more select major appliances. Plus, get 3 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. These deals are coming in hot. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check the GPS directions first, before driving to the mall.
Turn right at the light. In 1,000 miles, you will reach Montreal.
Not Montreal, the mall.
Recalculating. 6,000 miles to Nepal.
No, the mall.
Checking first is smart.
Recalculating.
So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, Bills. That's Bills. Enter it now.
FoxPHLGambler.com. Once again, FoxPHLGambler.com right now. Yeah, that's right. We're giving away $1,000 top of every hour. It's a cash contest. It's back. All you got to do is hear the keyword, get over to FoxPHLGambler.com, enter to win $1,000. Could be you. What are you waiting for? Top of the hour 9 times a day, starting at 9 a.m. All right, Sam Oshtry, Sean Barnard. I am a Sean Brace. A lot to get to here. We got Natalie Egenolf going to join us at 5 o'clock. A little Nat in the afternoon here, Sam. We did it 2 weeks ago. We're trying to make it a thing over the summertime. Everybody's schedule's all over the place. But I'm really looking forward to today's edition because yesterday she was at the Jason Kelce deal that raises money for the
in Seattle.
Yeah, the Eagles,
the OD,
the Autism Foundation that the Eagles raise money for, and at the OD in Seattle, where Kelce rips off a bathing suit. Oh, by the way, that bathing suit caught my attention. Not the
did it?
Whoa!
Not that.
Pause now.
Not that. I saw a Rocky themed bathing suit. It's the Rocky shorts. And I was like, damn, a couple weeks ago, I was like, that's pretty strong. I think it was like a $65 swimsuit. I'm like, nah, I'm out. I don't need that. But he rips it off. And next thing you know, he's got the banana hammock going on. Also American flag as well. So we'll have some fun with her. There is a player on the Eagles who has been making a name for himself on the field last year. Nobody, I mean, you could potentially say he had the best Super Bowl other than Jalen Hurts. And there's a lot of wondering right now. Maybe he's a little too all over the place. I would also say he's 22. We'll talk a little bit about Cooper DeJean in the 5 o'clock hour as well. Nat's going to have an opinion on what the hell is going on with the Phillies. Oh, whoa. Brandon Marsh.
Nope.
We scored a run.
Hey.
We just scored a run, though.
There we go. Tied up 1-1.
Wow.
Top of the 8th.
The Philly. Let's give them a roaring round of applause on that one. Come on.
World Series back on.
Yeah. We scored a run.
Breaks a 24-inning drought. Is that true?
Is that 24 innings? It's 3 straight games. It's the 8th inning. You do the math on that. 9, 9, and 8. 9, 9, and 8.
9, 9, and 8.
26.
Yeah, I was going to say, come on, boys.
It took me a second.
Yeah, 26. 26 is the number.
Finally, and it was a sack fly that gets the job done. Tie score right now in the 8th inning. We'll keep you up to date on everything happening in the Phillies. Don't touch that dial. Stay with us. Now, let's talk a little 76ers and about the Embiid situation right now, because here we go. Sean Barnard, I hate to, beat a dead horse and then some. I think we all know where everybody stands with this. It's just, it can't happen again. But it feels like after what Daryl Morey just said last night, that we need to set ourselves up that potentially it's going to continue like it has year in, year out, where Joel Embiid is going to miss time to start a season. It's going to be the same song and dance where it's like, well, if as long as he's ready for the playoffs, that's all that matters. You don't win anything in the regular season. And all I'm going to say is, you know what? Sam Oshtry looked me in the eyes on a show at the Daily Ticket and said, I'm going to define health for you. And that is Joel Embiid plays 60 games. That's health. That's health. Now, I agree with Sam. That's what the Sixers need. I don't think that that's even a remote possibility, although 2 seasons ago he did hit that number. But here we are. And if I put words in your mouth, Sam, then you can go ahead and take it. But I just – Daryl Morey says yesterday he was going to be ready right around training camp. I wish somebody would have pinned him down and said, wait a minute. Is he going to be ready for training camp? Will he be in there? Do you expect to turn that press conference into Joel Embiid? But they did not. Anyways, I digress. Your takeaway from Daryl Morey's comments about Joel Embiid being, quote, ready right around training camp is what? Sean, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the best feeling in the world. That I think at best you have to take this as like vague optimism. I don't think you can go anywhere beyond that. I think we're defining health as 60 games, that we're setting ourselves up for failure, that I don't think Joel Embiid plays that total this year or maybe ever again. I do think, like, to defend him a little bit here, he has not missed as much time as people make it out to be from a regular season perspective. Like, to list his games played here, he obviously only played 19 last year and 39 the game before, where these issues have been prevalent. Before that, he played 2 years.
That's the last 2 years. You can't go – like, I'm with you. The previous 2, he played 60+, but that's not this Joel Embiid, though, right?
Sure, but beyond that, he went 66, 68, 51, 51 in the shortened season, 64, 63. Like, that is on par for what you get for stars nowadays beyond it. But I get, like, the last 2 years are obviously the issue here, and plenty has changed since this point. Let's also not forget that 18 months ago, this dude was a consensus top 3 player in the NBA. Like, again, a lot has changed since that point, but that dude was still that dude at that time. So I really don't think there's a ton that we can take away from Daryl Morey saying this last night. I would have preferred more and agree that I wish somebody dug in and got a little bit more details on that there. But ultimately, I think kind of a non-story and the best that we can hope for at this stage in the game.
Non-story.
I mean, I don't think it changes my perception one way or another, is how I would put that.
It was just kind of weird how he said it when you really listened to it. He was like, he was questioning himself. He didn't want to say he was going to be here. I was like, oh, right around. It's like, how is he not going to be ready by training camp? Are we going to do the thing where it's ramping up again now? We'll just change the language.
That's my
But how is he
expectation.
not going to be ready by training
He should
camp?
be healthy now.
He need basketball forever. The surgery was months ago. How is he not going to be ready by training camp?
Joel Embiid mentally should be just fired up to get out on the floor. Mentally, like this. I hope this offseason, this dude has just been in the gym all day, every day. I know we're not going to get the summer
rehab. Yeah, I don't know about with the basketball.
I don't care. I want to just be eating and sleeping and drinking the fact that people are doubting you, trying to trade you for a bag of balls, so on and so forth. Like, dude, this franchise revolves around your health. And like the excuses can't be there. Like we talked about the lasting impact that it happens when you're like, whoa, we got to get the big man back. Got to get the big man back. Tyrese Maxey is better than that. He deserves better than that. Like he can't go into another season where it's like, well, the Joel Embiid. No, like everybody, the fans, we all deserve more than that. So if that's going to be the way it's going to start, I'm going to lose my mind again. But what did you say, Sean, about optimism? Vague optimism? Is that what you said?
Vague optimism is how.
All right, well, I got it. I'm vague optimism over here. I'm Mr. Vague optimism.
I think you're a pessimist, actually.
Oh, extremely. But go ahead.
I also was going to say, like, I obviously did not know Daryl Morey was doing the press conference. My professional commitment last night was to DraftKings doing live grades and cranking all that out. But I was thinking that if I was in that crowd, like, how do you bring up to Morey, like, so obviously you have no more plans tonight as the draft is still going on. And I think, like, the way that you should have swung that is, like, there was plenty of noise and buzz about you guys trading down from 3. How heavily was that considered? He gives his reply, and then you slide in like a, so obviously no more plans the rest of the night, it seems, since you're doing that. But I didn't hear anybody ask him about that either.
Yeah, it's one and done, pass the mic, that sort of deal. So I get it. I'm sure actually in the long run, in the grand scheme of things, I'm sure that those reporters were happy.
True.
Right?
Yeah, get home early.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Sam Oshtry, Sean Barnard joining us here. Is it an L, like Ryan Beef Coyle is saying, that VJ Edgecombe will be wearing number 77?
I like it. I like being different. Yeah.
Is that why he's wearing it? Because of Luka?
Doubt it.
First player in franchise history to wear that for the Sixers.
Who else has won that number besides Luka? Anybody?
77's ugly.
Yeah, it's a weird number.
But also, in fairness here, look at how many numbers are retired by the Sixers, man. It's not exactly like open season for picking.
I mean, there's still a lot of numbers out there.
Yeah, look.
I think it's cool on Luka just because, like, that's synonymous with Luka now, that 7-7. But it's kind of weird for just anyone to wear 77.
Yeah, I would like to know a little bit more on the why. Like, if he just pulled this off the scrap heap and like, yeah, I'll wear 77. If he says, hey, Luka wears 77, cool, I'm in. Like, even though he's still in the league, whatever, at least there's a reason. To me, this feels like, hey, here you go, Rook. I just want to know why. Again, who cares? We are
some of the great players who have worn 77. Jamison Battle.
George Mikan.
Bones Highland.
Did he
Bones
wear
Highland?
Bones.
Who do we got here? Kevin Porter Jr.
Did Taj Gibson? I think he might have been 76.
Yeah, I don't see Taj Gibson on this list. Lamar Stevens.
Shout out.
Ersan Ilyasova, actually.
If I had to have you guys guess, how many numbers are retired by the Philadelphia 76ers?
Under 10, I would say.
I was going to say 12.
7.
12.
9, 10, 11.
Wow.
So
11.
For slim pickings here, number 2 retired by Moses Malone. Number 3 retired by Allen Iverson.
There's 91 other. There's
11
89,
isn't exactly slim
89
pickings.
other.
And then, what, 13 other players on the team right now?
So would you feel better if he was like 21 or, well, obviously that's Joel.
60s, no. 70s, no. 80s, no. 90s, no. You're right. So now we're 99. I can get down with. You're right.
No, it's just a number.
It is just a number. I know. It's just funny.
I've never been a jersey number guy. Like, everyone memorizes people's jerseys, and I just don't know these guys' jerseys. I'm like, where are you watching? Why are you looking at the jerseys when you're watching games? I don't know anything about jersey numbers. I don't care about them at all. Like, why are people watching the jersey numbers when you're watching the game?
I don't think I'm buying a 77. That's all. I would buy a jersey. I normally try to buy one every summertime, but put it in the rotation. All right, let's get back to the draft. And we were opening up as far as, because I want to talk a little bit about the second round as far as it seems like there's going to be a big trade at the beginning. I think the T-Wolves open up shop with the first pick. Shams came out and said that people are trying to be aggressive, which is understood. That's how it is in the NFL draft as well. But more from yesterday. Sean, you said you were live with the live blog for DraftKings at DK Network. What else is something that caught your attention from a team perspective? How did Brooklyn do, in your opinion? Anybody that the Sixers will be battling this year?
Yeah, not particularly well. Brooklyn, one of my harshest grading there. Them and Portland. Portland got the only F I handed out for the Hanson Yang pick at 16 there. That still is head scratching to me. But beyond the fact that like he was a fringe first round pick, the odds on DraftKings Sportsbook, he was plus 115 to be a first round pick, period. He was picked 16th overall on a roster that already has DeAndre Ayton, Donovan Clingan, and Robert Williams on it. So I don't quite see the vision with the Hanson Yang pick. As far as the Brooklyn Nets, I'm pretty shocked that they made 5 first round picks in the first part here. It is definitely clear the strategy is we're just going to take as many shots at this as possible and hope one of these guys pans out. With that said, I don't really love any of their options there. Yegor Demon, I know Sam's a little bit higher on him than me. Very confident shooter for a guy that is a very bad shooter. He also, I think, approaches the game with a little bit more like pass first, score later. And I think to be successful with this archetype, you got to be the inverse there. You can run down the list of the names they picked, the Drake Powells, Ben Saraf, who I actually do like a little bit in the late rounds. I don't love it for Brooklyn here. The biggest winners, I would say, the OKC Thunder, I think nailed it with Thomas Sorber there. I also think the Kings getting Nick Clifford is an awesome move there. And Jace Richardson for the Orlando Magic, another huge winner. So I think those are the only A's that I gave out.
What about the Rockets?
Rockets, let me refresh my memory here. Who did Rockets walk away with?
Didn't they get Malawak? Yeah.
No, he went to Phoenix.
No, Suns. That's right.
That's where I'm confused.
That's right.
Yeah, so the Phoenix, I love it for Phoenix. I'm a Malawak believer. Me and Sam had our common Malawak versus Derek Queen debates here. I think for Phoenix in itself, answering their big man issue, which has been a gaping hole for several seasons at this point, by getting Mark Williams and Common Malawak, I love it. I think Phoenix did very well last night.
But let's stay on the Suns for a second. First, I just got to acknowledge let's stay on the Nets for a second. And first, I got to acknowledge that they drafted 2 Jewish players, Ben Saraf and Danny Wolf, just the second and third Jewish players to get into the league.
Brooklyn, you said?
The
Nice.
Brooklyn Nets. Ben
Right.
Saraf is from Israel.
And you said this is what, the first?
No, the second and third players in the league right now.
Okay.
With
Danny Avdia, the other
correct.
one?
Nice.
So Ben Saraf is from Israel and Danny Wolf is from America, obviously at Yale, then Michigan, but he has Israeli citizenship as well. So 2 Israelis. So
And Danny Wolf's brother was crying his eyes.
he was.
Yeah, he was very- that was the
It's been a tough stretch for my people, so it's good to see one go through the hoop every once in a while.
Nice work there. Like that.
From the Nets perspective, I like not their draft necessarily, but I love the Igor Demon reach. And this was one of the more polarizing prospects, maybe the most polarizing prospects in the entire draft. His potential, if he can develop a shot, is as high as anyone other than Cooper Flagg in this entire draft. He is a 6'9" point guard who has incredible touch and finishing ability, can finish through contact, great footwork. He is the best passer in the draft, unquestionably the best passer in this draft. Amazing operating out of the pick and roll. And it's not like this is Ben Simmons where he can't shoot and he refuses to shoot. When you watch his tape from BYU, this guy has the utmost confidence in shot until the very last game they played against Alabama. He had so much confidence at three-pointer. He was just bad at shooting them. Like he shot 27% from 3. It was really poor numbers, but he never lost confidence in it. And apparently shot really well at a lot of draft workouts. And so it's not like it's an ugly form or anything. If this guy can develop a shot, and part of the concern is he shot 69% from the foul line, which isn't great. If he can develop a shot, his ceiling, I'm telling you, is as high as anyone other than Cooper Flagg in this draft. So I like the swing with the Nets. Wow. You have first-round picks. Yeah, you take 4 guards, right? One of them has to pan out. One of these guards has to pan out, and they're probably going to move on from Cam Thomas.
That's a hell of a strategy.
They need some guards. I think Igor Demon has a chance to be really good. Will have an opportunity to develop with great coaching with Jordi Fernandez in the Nets program, and it's no pressure on him right now because the Nets are going to be bad for a bunch of years. But I think Demon is a good pick. I think Danny Wolf and Ben Saraf can develop into something. Ben Saraf I'm higher on than Danny Wolf. I know a bunch of people over in Israel who know him and speak very highly of him. So I think Ben Saraf can develop into something. I think they didn't have as bad of a draft as people are making out to be, but that's really because I'm pretty high on Igor Demon.
Mm-hmm. All right. And again, out of BYU, they busted on the scene in a big way and continue to do so. Yeah. With the number 1 overall pick for next year, potentially.
Yeah, they definitely could. They'll be in tank mode, and they were hoping to get that this year. Obviously, didn't happen, but they'll still be in tank mode, and they're taking a patient approach to their rebuild as opposed to years ago when they didn't take that approach.
All right, just to keep everybody updated right here, right now, it looks like the Phillies are going to lose because the Houston Astros just scored another run, so it's 2-1 right now in the bottom of the 8th. Unfortunately, could not get out of that inning unscathed, so here we are, and the Phillies have only had one run in the last 3 games. So, yeah, you do the math on that one. I was going to have some fun with you boys with the great state of Maine.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Because, of course, Cooper Flag. And one thing we didn't discuss, what is your thought on the Marty party?
It was cool.
Marty.
I love Marty Smith. He's great.
Marty Smith is great. But again, we're involving everything from the broadcast. Did you like that? The energy, the pep rally-esque type vibe? I don't know.
I did like that.
Did you? Okay.
I did too. Maine does not get a lot of basketball players in the NBA.
You're right.
It's cool that the whole state could celebrate.
All right. Do you know the capital of Maine, Sam?
Yes, I do. I believe it's Augusta.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Oh, Shabbat, did you have that?
I've been to Maine a bunch.
You have?
I love it up there, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's awesome. I did backpacking there. Did some time in the lakes up there, Belgrade Lakes.
Nice.
I love Maine.
Really?
In the summer, it's one of the best states.
I
One of the more
bet.
underrated states in the country.
Dude, I'm
Never
dying
been.
to go that way. Yeah, I've only
You
been
guys
to
should
Rhode
go.
Island. That's as high as I've ever been. Well, been pretty high before, but that as far as
Oh,
Golden
hey
State,
now.
Maine produces around 40 million pounds of what food item each year? It's about 90% of the entire U.S. supply.
Crab.
Lobster.
Incorrect. That is
Oh,
correct.
lobster. I knew that.
Chaminade.
Damn, Sean. Nice.
I know this story from my parents went up there. My dad used to say that the lobster was cheaper than getting a hamburger up there.
Wow. Yeah. You could see it. They support the United States at 90%. I mean, lobster's good.
Overrated.
Overrated.
Yeah,
Absolutely
Me and Bernard
overrated.
agree on something today.
Yeah, absolutely overrated. Absolutely. I do like shrimp. I will take shrimp, but it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg like lobster. All right. True or false? Maine gets the first rays of sunlight in the United States.
True.
That is correct.
Right.
Maine is the easternmost state in the U.S., so it is usually one of the first to greet the morning sun. Let's see here. What else? Sam, Mr. Maine, can you name the state animal?
Yeah.
Bear.
No, it's a moose.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Look
You gotta when you're
Sam.
backpacking and hiking up there, you gotta look out for them. I've never actually seen one, but people say they're all around.
You know what's crazy is I have deer right now that
Deer are everywhere.
are
around us.
roaming around Conshohocken, and I have 3 of them. That's
The
6.
same one.
There's 3 of them, and they literally are walking around, and they're all bucked. They're all like, these antlers. Dude, these antlers are growing fast. Antlers grow fast. I've never
So
noticed.
this is like your kids. You like keep track of them.
Bro, I'm ready to put a leash on them. They're across the street. They're walking up and down the sidewalk at like 6:00 at night. They're
That's
all
crazy.
over. Yeah, it's crazy right now. All right, last one. And this one surprised me because I was looking up popular people who were born from the great state of Maine. This popular Fox sideline reporter was born and raised. Do you have an answer?
Can we get a sport?
Football.
It's got to be football. Yeah. I have no idea.
Sideline
Fox
reporter?
sideline reporter?
Yeah.
Aaron Andrews.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is it?
That is correct,
That's a good pull. That's a good
sir. Nice pull by you on that one. Yes, Aaron Andrews from the great state of Maine. How about that? Did a little research there for, of course, Cooper Flag. What's up with his brothers? Anybody getting drafted from his brother's crew?
Twin brother, by the way.
Okay.
Didn't quite get the same amount of natural talent, it seems. He is playing college basketball actually at the University of Maine.
Yeah,
that's right.
It doesn't seem from I've never seen him play, so I can't speak towards that fully, but it does not seem like he is viewed in the same light as Cooper.
Yeah, well, Cooper reclassified, so I'm pretty sure
Correct.
his brother just did finish his first year of high school. He's going to go play at the University of Maine.
Oh, okay. So he's young.
Yeah, but
Gotcha.
I'm with Sean. I've never seen him, but I don't think. I think we would have heard about him if he was going to be some great prospect.
Yeah.
All right. I got some other odds and ends. The other one from the NBA draft last night was Dylan Harper's mother, also Ron Harper's wife.
Yes.
The great Ron Harper.
I think that was the only text I sent in our group chat. I was working all night. That was the only text I sent. I was like, all right, this is the one.
The people I was with were going, no way is that his mom. No way that's his mom.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, that's his mom. And then they showed Ron, and I'm like, yeah, dude, Ron Harper's a legend. So
everyone knows him. Yeah,
exactly. All right, good stuff there, boys. Of course, NBA draft rolls on tonight. Let's talk about round 2, if you would not mind. Sam, I'll start with you. Kalkbrenner still alive from Creighton. He's a guy that could fill it up. Has a Doug McDermott vibe for me. Am I off on that comp? And would you say that he's going to get drafted? Is he going to have an impact in the NBA? Where are you at with that?
Yeah, completely different player than Doug McDermott. He's like a traditional rim running center, but he was probably the best rim protector in college basketball last year. So I was surprised he didn't go in the first round. I thought the Suns could get him. Just because they need a center. Of course, they obviously traded for Mark Williams and got Kaman Malawach, so they got 2 centers there. The Celtics, I thought, were a team that could get him. They went for Hugo Gonzalez instead. I was surprised he didn't go in the first round. I think Kalkbrenner is going to be a pretty impactful player in the league. He'll start out as a backup center, like a Luke Cornett type. He doesn't have the skill set that a lot of other bigs have. He just is what it is, but he's a good rim protector. And he's a good he's a good play finisher around the rim. So I think Kalkbrenner is going to be a good guy.
Am I overvaluing him from the 3-pointer? Why am I thinking
he can't shoot threes?
No,
he's a 6'7" center. Yeah.
Am I losing my mind?
Maybe
I think I am. Sorry,
I'm not sure who you're thinking of either.
Yeah, my fault. All right. Well, it's just another
Stephen Ashworth.
No, I was thinking, maybe it was somebody else from Creighton. I apologize. My bad.
And then Rasheer Fleming, the guy from St. Joe's. He has an unbelievable wingspan. He can shoot the 3 ball. Just a
Jay
prototypical.
Bills is number 1 that's still available right now.
He is a prototypical 3-and-D guy. He'll have a lot of success in the NBA. Another guy I was kind of surprised that didn't go in the first round. And then a sleeper I would look at for the second round is Chaz Lanier, who I believe has a chance to be one of the best shooters in this entire draft. Not just standstill shooter, but off the dribble too. So whoever gets him, there's a lot of concerns with his defense, and he doesn't really have playmaking abilities, ball handling abilities. But as a pure shooter, the guy can drill shots from anywhere. So I think whoever gets him will be getting a steal as well.
29 names will be called tonight. What's the big one for you, Sean Barnard?
Yeah, Rasheer Fleming, certainly the guy at the top of my list as well. I did get a little intel of he apparently didn't work out well, and a couple teams didn't love the interview side of things with him, that he came off a little immature and those sort of conversations. So I would assume that's connected to why he's still on the board, but I don't care. I would take the dude. I think that is a prototypical power forward and a high-level athlete in the way that the Sixers could use. Another guy I'll throw in the mix from the Sixers perspective, Adu Tiero, coming out of Arkansas, is another guy I love, who's a work rate, a wing, a guy that's going to play his heart out, and I'm in on him as well. Kobe Brea intrigues me out of Kentucky, a really good shooter, a guy who I wish was a little bit bigger. I do think the Sixers might take a shot at the big man position. Kalkbrenner certainly in play. Got a pretty reliable tip here that the dude who went 30th to the Clippers, Yannick Conan Niederhauser out of Penn State there, that was expected to be their pick at 35. That was a guy that they seemed to really like, and there was a bit of a promise in play there. Ultimately, he's off the boards, and we won't know how that goes down. If they are going big man, my personal preference would be Maxine Renaut out of Stanford there, double-double machine who can shoot the ball a little bit. So those are probably the top names that I have my eye on, at least in the early parts of this.
So Minnesota has the first pick, 31. And who will that player be, Sean Barnard? Back to you.
I'm going to guess that somebody trades in there for Rasheer Fleming. I don't think it'll be Minnesota, but I think that is the fairly consensus top name on the board. And I think that there's enough teams that somebody will talk themselves into to go up and get him. Would not be mad if it's our Philadelphia 76ers.
And Sam, the 76ers are 35th here. And I'm looking at ESPN. If they call Tyrese Proctor, what is your reaction?
Ugh.
Yeah, I don't love that. They kind of have a lot of guards, and Tyrese Proctor is just a small guard that they don't.
So what? Really now you're not drafting best of available. Now you're drafting fit.
I think
third pick and 35th pick are very different there.
Yeah, it's both. I mean, you need
Yes,
fit. You need fit for sure for a team. When you're building out depth, you don't want depth with a ton of guards. You want depth in a lot of areas. So if Kalkbrenner's still on board, I think the Sixers could target him. The Lakers also want Kalkbrenner, which is why they traded up. Because they, of course, need a center, and that's a cheap center that you're getting in the second round, who will have an immediate impact as a backup big. So I think those two guys are two guys to look at. But I think Rasheer Fleming will be the first guy off the board. I'm with Sean. I don't think it's going to be the Timberwolves. I think they're going to end up trading that pick.
Sean, Janiah Broom, who was, I believe, player of the year, right, last year? College?
He was, and I don't like him whatsoever from an NBA perspective, to be honest.
Anybody, even Oklahoma City?
Somebody will draft him for sure. I don't want it to be in Philadelphia. He recorded the lowest vertical jump of any player at the combine here, and it looked ugly. Like I kind of watching it was like, that's like you bring an average person off the street and they're giving you a run for the money there. So I think the athleticism is just not there with Janiah Broom. He's talented. He will get rebounds. He's got good size. And I do think a team will definitely select him, but I don't see the fit from an NBA perspective.
All right. What about with our own Villanova Wildcats, of course, home of the Villanova Wildcats football and basketball team right here on Fox Sports Radio Philadelphia. Season fast approaching for football. Of course, all eyes with Sam's guy, Coach Willard, for hoops. But
I'm
Eric,
surprised he wasn't in the building yesterday with Derek Green. Most college coaches are right by their guy.
You saw Shire.
Yeah. Why am I forgetting the Michigan coach's name? Who just came from FAU? Why am I blanking?
It's a good name too.
Dusty May. May. There it is.
Okay.
Mental brain spat there. Yeah, Dusty May was right there with Danny Wolf. Okay. So most coaches are there. Actually, a quick stat for you. This was the first time since 2007 that John Calipari did not have a first-round pick.
Wow.
That's unbelievable, right?
Yeah, what an absolute beast. What's not unbelievable is the Phillies got swept. Were able to produce 1 run in 27 innings of action down in Houston. That is a series that you absolutely just flush the tape and move on. I don't even know who they got next. I apologize. Any idea?
I will add a 1.37 ERA from the starting pitching in the series.
That's ridiculous.
They have 3 losses to show for.
We got the Braves next on the road, which is also a pretty big series.
Yeah. All right.
They've been struggling, though.
Yeah, you're right about that. Actually, they played well against the Mets, but again, you're right. So
the Mets,
they are going to Atlanta, and that game is at 7:15 tomorrow. Yeah, that's the most disappointing part of all of this is the starting pitching that you got. Back to let's start with you, Sam, on Eric Dixon. Of course, huge Eric Dixon fan. Dude's got skills. Is he the quickest? No. Does he have a spot in the NBA? Like, he could fill it up. He's a shooter from outside. Your thoughts on Eric Dixon, not just from the 76ers perspective, but him being drafted in the second round?
Yeah, I think he'll probably go closer to the late second round than the early second round because there are serious limitations with his size, his defense. He is a shooter, so he's a guy that could play the 4. But even for a 4, he's undersized and he's average physical traits. And, like I said, he's not a guy who you're going to count on defensively. Teams would constantly target him. So I don't think there's that much of a role for him in the NBA. He's a classic, great college player, even like a Frank Kaminsky type who was awesome in college. Different players and different size and skill set than Eric Dixon, but he was great in college and his game doesn't really translate to the NBA. Eric Dixon was a great college scorer and he can shoot the 3 ball, but he's a pound guy inside. He's not big enough to pound guys in the NBA inside. So I think there's not much of a role for him in the NBA, but he'll definitely get an opportunity from some team in the late second round.
I just thought about inside the NBA there. Or
when I said pound, it came to my mind as well. It came to my mind as well. I was like, if Shaq was right there, he'd be dying laughing.
Cracking up. Yeah. What do you say, Chuck? What do you say, Kenny? What do you say? Sean Barnard, your thoughts on Eric Dixon. We'll wrap it up here.
Yeah, I think I'm more optimistic than Sam on him, that I do think he will hear his name called tonight. I agree it's probably in the later sense, but he changed my perspective on him this season, Eric Dixon, stretching himself out to the perimeter. He shot 40.7% on 7.2 3-point attempts per game. That is a ton for a guy with legitimate size. This guy hasn't panned out yet, so I feel tough throwing him as a player comparison, but EJ Liddell is the number one guy that pops to my mind as sort of a comparison for what he can be. Again, Liddell tore his ACL his rookie season and sort of hasn't quite found his footing, but I see a pathway to him being one of the hard-nosed 3-and-D style of players. It's going to take some time. He is a little bit older than you'd hope for as well, but I think somebody will give Eric Dixon a chance. There's too much production to overlook.
All right. Once again, home of Villanova football and basketball. They open up the football season versus Colgate on September 6th, and then they travel out to PSU, Penn State, for a big game on September 13th. We're going to be doing a lot more with those guys and girls from Playfly/Villanova. Looking forward to it. Of course, a huge basketball season nonetheless, with the expectations that university brings, number one. But, of course, with everything being new with Coach Willard, a very exciting time for Villanova athletics. And you know what? I had no issue with the hat. None. They have a big following in New York. I'm not a Yankees fan. The Yankee hat. I'm not the Yankee, get rid of it. But there's tons of Villanova alum in New York, plus the connection with the Knicks players. They had some fun with it.
If it was a Knicks tie-in, I can kind of see it a little bit. The Yankees is just gross. Like, that is marketing malpractice.
Yes. Okay, I'm with you. I hate the Yankees.
But it is an iconic
wait.
hat.
Yeah, if you could tie in with the Yankees, you're not going to do that?
No, I don't think Villanova should. And I'm sure it has something to do with what you're saying, like connections and somebody in the business side or that kind of things. That's definitely how it happened there. But, I mean, what are we doing here? If Villanova wants to be Philly school, you're throwing your logo on a Yankees hat?
Hey, they are.
They're not a Phillies.
Yes, they
Yeah,
are.
they are to a
They
degree.
are. You grew up on the main line. You went to
Yeah,
school on the
but
main
and
line.
I wouldn't say I grew up
Lower
in Philly.
Merion's not a Philly school?
No, it's outside of the city.
Wow.
It's not
Okay.
a Philly school
Right.
like Roman Catholic. I mean, it's as close to Philly as you can get from a suburb, but it's not technically a Philly school.
Well, I trust your
People
word on
who
that.
actually are from Philly get pissed when you say that.
Big
because
time.
it's like
No
disrespectful.
doubt about that. I'm originally from Scranton, and I just judge everything as Philly. So, hey, great stuff, and can't thank you guys both enough. Sam, you're hanging with me for the next hour. Natalie's going to join us in studio. Sean, take us out of here. What do you got cooking tonight? And of course, over there at DK Networks, fantastic job last night.
Thank you. Yeah, it was fun writing that. I was on my toes with the grades. We were cruising fast midway through that round. So off the clock from a writing perspective here, we'll be doing some reaction videos over on Sixers Digest as sort of a breakdown for whatever direction they do go at 35 and the rest of the draft. So make sure to stay tuned for that. That'll be cranking out on the socials as well. And yeah, that's primarily my plan for tonight.
Nice work. Yeah, and Ryan Beefco, I want to give him a tip of the cap because he did some write-ups on a lot of these players in high school.
Yeah.
At a website that he was doing some stuff with a previous spot. So nice work there. He put it on the timeline. Great job.
Very, very cool video making its rounds too, by the way, of VJ Edgecombe and Justin Edwards going head to head at the high school level with both of them like getting in each other's faces, dunking on each other, which is pretty cool now that the context of these guys are teammates and obviously made it to the NBA.
All right. Sky's the limit for our 76ers. We're back. Sean Barnard, you're the best. We'll catch up later. Always a pleasure, sir. Once again, Natalie Egenolf is going to join us in studio on the other side. We'll talk about the Phillies, of course, getting swept down there in Houston. A little bit more big picture stuff as far as Embiid is concerned, having some fun. And what the hell was that like last night down in Sea Isle at the OD, the great OD with Jason Kelsey and all those Philadelphia Eagles? And the big question is Cooper DeJean, man. What's going on? He's a little all over the place. Should we have concern, or is this how every 22-year-old acts? We'll talk about it all with Natalie on the other side. Don't go any more daily ticket after this.
For a lot of us, saving up a down payment can be the biggest barrier to buying a home. So Rocket Mortgage is lowering down payments to 1% for eligible home buyers with One Plus. Because everyone deserves their shot at the American dream. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to get a head start on your starter home.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states, NMLSconsumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Dick's epic 4th of July sale is on. Get summer ready with 25% off select Stanley drinkware. Get 20% off Igloo coolers and water bottles and select bog bags. Buy one, get one 50% off DSG coolers, canopies, chairs, and water bottles. $200 off Callaway AI smoke irons and TaylorMade QI10 drivers. These deals won't last. Stock up for summer now, in-store or online at Dicks.com. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas. T-Mobile Arena, September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. Starring John Fogerty, Brian
John
Adams,
Fogerty,
Mariah Carey, Tim McGraw, Jelly Roll, Ed Sheeran, and more. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage, superstar performances, and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Get your iHeartRadio Music Festival tickets now at AXS.com.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
We got you in traffic on the walk within length of the bridge into New Jersey. Then delays on 42 south off the bridge down to Lower Landing Road. The Schuylkill westbound bumper to bumper, Bear to the Vine Expressway. Jam Boulevard to Belmont and Glywood to Conshohocken. Eastbound, Savio Brewery to Belmont and Boulevard to South. 95 northbound heavy both ways. Schuylkill Broad. 95 northbound. So Chichester, Commodore Barry, Gerard Point Bridge, to Penn's Landing, and Allegheny to Bridge. Southbound Jan Cotman to the Betsy Ross. Fire to tell it. Total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
You own or manage a business here in Philadelphia? Are you unsure where to start when it comes to advertising? Well, here's the surprise. Fox Sports The Gambler, your local iHeart station, is the one place you can get it all. Hey, it's Sean Brace, and we can help with everything from radio and podcast ads to social media and digital. And we can even get local voices like mine spreading the word about your business. So if you're looking for someone to take care of it all,
Do yourself a favor right now. Call 844-844-iHeart or visit iHeartAdvertising.com today.
How about this? This dude used to be an intern at Fox 29. I don't even think he was an intern. He was a high schooler that was coming up many years ago. They went to North Carolina.
Available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Download for free now. Rated X.
Stay tuned to Fox PHL The Gambler for the latest CEOs you should know.
Michael Delbane, the president and CEO of Welcome America.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Basketball is not over. Big Three is back this Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on CBS. Fast-paced, physical 3-on-3. The most competitive physical basketball in the world. See the league everyone is talking about. Miami's 305, led by Lance Ready Stevenson, MVP Michael Beasley, and Mario Chalmers. Coach and Hall of Famer Michael Cooper taking on Boston's Ball Hogs with Coach Gary Payton and Kevin Murphy fighting for second place. Also featuring the world's best 3-on-3 players, featuring Dwight Howard, Joe Johnson, Kevin Murphy, Montrezl Harrell, Jason Richardson, Jordan Crawford, Paul Millsap, Glenn Rice Jr., Greg Monroe, Wesley Johnson, Nasir Cole, and many more. Hall of Fame coaches Nancy Lieberman, Dr. J, Jordan Ice head coaches Stephen Jackson, and Nick Young. Basketball the way it's meant to be played. Followed by 2 games on Vice. Big Three is fierce and live on CBS and Vice this Sunday starting 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific.
Better than that, like you see how it is.
Heart failure.
But it's good enough. But,
just too much.
My lower back pain was interrupting family time.
My carpal tunnel syndrome was taking me away from work. That's why I talked to my cardiologist about my symptoms.
That's why I talked to my cardiologist.
That's why I talked to my cardiologist and discovered I had ATTR-CM, or transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis.
If you have heart failure and you worsen symptoms, it could be ATTR-CM. ATTR-CM is serious heart condition often accompanied by other non-heart-related symptoms. Talk to your cardiologist today and see what's wrong.
Well, look, I think Clemmy does some good shows. There's no denying that, but there are just multiple times there about
Tell your doctor about all your medications, medical conditions, and if you have liver problems or breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be.
Correct. And if it does happen, hey, look, at the end of the day, if it does happen,
learn more at Vindamax.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
The Peace Lily is so last year. Hey, has anyone worked with fiddlenecks?
Shelby's popular flower shop is in full bloom.
We just got a request for an arrangement that evokes air. Who's up for that challenge? No?
She needs to hire a floral designer to knit foliage faux pas in the bud.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our advanced matching helps talented candidates so you can connect with them fast. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
are you in during the broadcast?
He knows there's during the break.
Need me to call 911?
No.
Time.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be listening in my car.
Word. Don't screw up.
Hi.
We got you front and center on the camera.
Oh, goodness.
I hate this.
My mug.
No.
I always lose so many
Oh my
golf
God, I
balls.
died yesterday. It was hot.
Buying those overpriced
It was
balls,
hot.
huh?
I'll talk about it, but it was.
Premium balls aren't cheap.
You have to
They
be
are.
like.
You get them from buymyballs.com. I told you. That's balls
Yeah,
DC.
yeah.
It was nice.
It was nuts. It was so crazy. I was like, this is.
You lose on every year.
Nope.
No,
I
this was
just
my first
reload
year.
and
Yeah.
keep digging it.
All right.
So, like,
First
normal
thing after this
Eagles
round,
celebrities?
I'm hitting buy my
Just
balls.
the players. Yeah, kind Ross Tucker was there too.
Get yours
Yeah.
at
he was bartending.
buymyballs.com.
No,
That's
Travis.
balls.
He's too big time now.
About the IRS.
Oh, he's
They
that
tell you
type
to
of
be
dude.
afraid.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't there
And they try to
last year
frighten you
either,
into
though.
calling.
Like,
I'm not
No,
here
he
to do
wasn't.
that.
No, well,
Tax
he's in
relief
intelligence
advocates
council.
is
Why would he
different.
go to
CRA is here to
CIO?
tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's
Oh, yeah.
$5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-616-1997.
Yes.
Don't
Yeah.
And then
eliminate
literally,
or reduce what
pound
you owe
shut
to the
down
IRS.
outside the
Generous
restaurant.
programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals
know.
fix
I would
their
sign up
IRS
for it right
problems.
now,
We have over
Yeah.
1,005
but,
reviews on Google
that
and an
life-
A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmares today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-616-1997. That's 800-616-1997. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Your one stop for advertising?
I always did. I love Justin Timberlake. No, I always said that before, even before he dated
tropical
Taylor
vibes
Swift. I always said he was like
real soft, fresh tasting coconut.
trying to be like, yeah.
and delicious chocolate.
I know.
I knew you feel like a nut.
Sometimes
you don't. And then like the whole
Almond joy's got nuts and something even way better than light. Yes, almond joy is made with almonds and they just like were like such a thing. When Jason Kelsey was just like.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save
Just
money
like
on your
some
home.
people. Yeah, yeah.
Some of the surprisingly more expensive stuff.
To celebrate the
Attention
bridge.
passengers,
That was-
package
that was-
United States available for pickup.
is an all-time
Hundreds for this
legend.
flight.
Yeah.
You can't use internet? I'll just get the free pretzels. Sorry.
Gotta
We
go,
do a
gotta
snack
go.
box
You got
for sale.
headphones?
I'm just
Yes,
asleep.
yes.
In that case, we are selling pillows and blankets as well. I'll just breathe. That's free, right?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could
Yeah,
save.
he
with
wasn't there
Progressive.
yesterday. I was
Or
surprised.
schedule
But he,
junction with
where's he
other
at?
sources.
Lane
What's he up
Johnson
to?
was just on with Colin
Shop
Cowherd
Mattress
earlier
for
today.
Oh,
July
okay.
4th sale and reclaim your restless nights. Choose from a curated premium selection of mattresses to find just the upgrade you're looking for.
Really
Get matched, sleep at night.
find it.
A backdoor cold front that's bringing us an end to the heat
A
wave.
cold
We'll also
front,
experience
huh?
some thunderstorms. So
Amen.
severe thunderstorm
I
watch.
really
Last
like.
week,
I'm just not
10
like a
o'clock.
heat.
Any
person.
storms could have dangerous lightning, heavy downpours, hail, and
Is that
damaging
tonight?
winds. Overnight low is 67 for your Friday. Cloudy and cool
Where is
down.
that? Where is
High
that?
only
Where is it?
75
I
degrees with
downloaded
the
it.
possibility
Did I
of
download
some
it?
showers. I'm meteorologist Cecily Tynan with your 6 ABC AccuWeather forecast.
This report is sponsored by Amazon Prime Day.
If you love deals, you'll love this. Prime Day is lasting 4 days this year. That's 4 days of unbelievable deals in every category you can think of. So you can save big on everything you're into. Shop Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
We're busy on the Walt Whitman Bridge into New Jersey. Jam the length of the bridge down to 42 south at Lower Landing Road. The Schuylkill westbound bumper to bumper, Vare to the Vine Expressway, and Boulevard to Belmont. So glad with the Conshohocken eastbound. Stop and go Bluebird to Belmont and Boulevard to South. A Vine Expressway busy both ways. Schuylkill to Broad, 95 northbound heavy state line, the Commodore Barry. Then so Girard Point Bridge to Penn's Landing. And stop and go Girard up the bridge, southbound Jan Cotman to the Betsy Ross. Liar to tell a total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
You see what I see, love?
Our grandson splashing his mom with a cannonball?
You. Having heart failure is hard enough, but now you're having trouble opening the sunscreen. Carpal tunnel acting up again?
Yep, and there are my stomach issues. And how tired I am. I could use a nap.
Let's take a dip, and then we're calling your cardiologist to see what's going on, okay?
If you have heart failure and something's off, it may be ATTR-CM or transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis. It's a serious heart condition that gets worse over time. Vindamax, tafamidis, is a prescription pill taken once a day to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization for heart problems. Tell your doctor about all your medications, medical conditions, and if you have liver problems or breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be. There are no known side effects with Vindamax. For prescribing information, call 1-877-278-9632. Learn more at Vindamax.com.
Seeing what I see? Ask your doctor about ATTR-CM.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WTAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler.
5 o'clock hour here, Daily Ticket. We're running 3 wide live. Joining us here on a Thursday. We're making this a thing, damn it.
Yes.
I don't care if it's the summertime. I know it was a national holiday, yeah, so that kind of, makes everything change just a little bit last week. But Natalie Egenolf is going to be joining us every Thursday and then some. Trust me when I tell you that, with football season right around the corner. But excited to have Natalie with us at iHeartRadio if you missed that 2 weeks ago. And she'll be joining us every Thursday for the 5 o'clock hour. Sam Oshtry from The Score. I am Sean Brace. And as I said, the great Natalie Egenolf with us. Natalie, how we doing today? How's everything going in your world?
Good. Everything's great. Finally cooled down from the last 2 days. I spent a lot of time in the extreme heat.
that I normally wouldn't.
So,
outside doing outside activities.
I know one. You went to the Phillies Mets game Sunday night. Was that hot?
That was hot. So
Okay.
I guess 3 things I did.
Wow.
And then I went to one of the soccer games on Tuesday. Yeah.
Who was in that?
It was
wow.
Tunisia versus Chelsea.
Okay.
There's a longer name. It's Esperanza.
Yeah.
I can't recall it right now.
Way too hot.
It was insane.
Yeah.
It was a different kind of hot. Like, when you're hot and it's in the sun and it just, there was nowhere to go. It was dark. It's like soupy.
What was the atmosphere like? Because I know they're trying to play up the World Cup.
Oh, I will tell you, I think we need to sing more together as fans. I think
Is
we
that a
need
big
to.
soccer thing?
Yeah, they were
Yes.
singing, dancing. I mean, it was a really, really cool experience. Really great environment. So that was event number 2 in the heat, and then event number 3 in the heat was the big deal down in Sea Isle yesterday.
Boom.
With Jason Kelsey's Team 62 event, which
Yes.
again was so hot.
All right. So real quick on the singing and stuff. It's funny you say that. So we broadcasted live on Friday from Xfinity Live for the Mets and Phillies game 1. My father-in-law came and he was like, dude, and because there was a Chelsea game right across the street
Yes.
at 2:00 they played. It was ridiculous. Traffic was insane. All those
I
Brazilian
was gonna
fans.
come down and then I put in my GPS. I live close, and
No.
it was like
No.
40 minutes, and I was like, I live 10 minutes.
I messed up. I did not know that game was going on. We would not have been live if I would have did my research. That was a bad job by me. Anyways, we made it happen. And my father-in-law was like, hey, we need to come up with a song. That's what we need to do. And I'm like, no, we don't, man.
Yes.
Phillies fight song?
Yeah, Phillies fight song.
We'll work on it.
Well, the soccer, that's one of the cool things. And shout out to the Philadelphia Union. They're on top. They got the best record, I believe, in the MLS. And they
Yes.
won just again last night. And I'm telling you, that was one of the things that hooked me in, was going to a soccer game and being involved in the River End, and they sing.
Yeah.
And you're able to make an ass out of yourself and have fun.
Yeah.
And just let it loose, man.
Just
it's a
let
good time.
loose, and everybody enjoys themselves. But it's funny because as I'm sitting there listening, I'm trying to hear the words that they're saying in the songs, and you can't hear it. It's just kind of like,
It's just noises.
And the drums.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
they allow blowhorns too, and drums and everything during games. Like you can't get away with that at Phillies or Eagles games.
No. Or
It's just
how
a
about the
soccer
flares?
thing.
Yeah, the flares.
The flares were
They allow
flares
some
were
crazy
something.
stuff into the stadium.
Did
They
you
never would for normal
I was
sporting
like, I can't even get a bag in that fits my wallet. But
Did you
sure, bring
see
some flares in. No
how
big deal.
they got that flare in?
No.
I saw a video.
No.
The guy put it in a hoagie.
Are you kidding me?
Wrapped it in a hoagie. Yep,
Don't-
in the bun.
That's as Philly as it
Stop.
gets.
Well, it's not. It's a Brazilian guy.
I know, but I'm saying he's adopting the
I
culture.
can't.
So stupid. So stupid. But yes, the drums I can get down with. Let's get some music going. I tell you right now, our team could use something right now.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, we'll talk some Phillies. But yes,
Yes.
I want to get into what took place last night or yesterday down in Sea Isle City. And now this is a couple years going, and I saw you front and center.
I was there.
How close were you to Jason Kelsey when he removed the bathing suit and dropped it down to the Speedo?
So I was on the other side. So
Good for you.
Yes, I did not get to see the pull off pants, which I was like, where do you even get those? Where do you get those where you could just remove them like that? In the American flag Speedo. That was interesting. I saw that video later and I was like, how did I miss this? And then people were doing body shots off of Sydney Brown. There was lots of stuff going on that I think that I missed just because I was hanging out with like Philly Sports Trips. They
Nice.
sponsored the Champs Bar there,
Oh,
which was
get
awesome.
out.
Yeah, it was super, super cool. So shout out to those guys for having me out. It
They're
was really
doing-
awesome.
They do so much. and,
so much.
I
yeah.
remember the spring training back of the dugout. I'm like, dude, what is going on? Like Philly Sports Trips are all over.
Oh, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. So they hosted me yesterday, which was
Very
really nice. But I kind of hung out in their little area, ventured out. But again, it was 10 rows deep. It was Eagles fans just packed around the bar, 10 rows deep. Like I couldn't move, and I don't love crowds, just to say, like being tight in crowds like that.
Yeah.
And again, it was so hot, but it was a fantastic day. They raised a ton of money. I saw the beer pong tournament, which was awesome. And again, it just seemed like everybody was having a great time.
Yeah, they do a lot of fun like stuff, like games. I don't know if they
Yeah.
did like the singing contest. I thought that was a little over the top. They did that like 2-3 years ago where they
I
brought
don't
him
think
inside.
that was they
yeah,
didn't do that
yeah.
yesterday.
I think that was the year that actually Travis did show up, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
so
yeah.
they did something indoors.
Now he's too big time now.
Yeah, so we hear
He's in Swiftland. Wherever that is.
God bless
Should
him.
be in Philly, honestly. It should be in Philly.
He
sometime.
should.
As far as yesterday, so players only. Like, was there any celebrities? Anybody? Like, who's the biggest player? Who got the biggest reaction in your mind?
I mean, Kelsey always gets. So it was Jason Kelsey. Cooper DeJean was there. I'm trying to think of who else was there. Connor Barwin,
that's dope.
Kelsey's buddy. He was there. Sidney Brown, Big Dom was there.
Okay.
They brought out the whole squad.
Yeah.
Ross Tucker was there.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, it was pretty much the whole team.
I'm going to ask you about one of the more popular young guns on this team. And
Yeah.
there are some concerns to the point that one of our guys, Ryan Beef Coyle, got a text message from his dad going, should we be concerned with Cooper DeJean?
Yeah,
He's all over the place.
Sentiment
Yes.
in Eagles land.
So it's funny you bring that up because somebody else just said that to me earlier
Oh.
today. Look, he's a 22-year-old Super Bowl champion.
You're damn right.
And it's crazy. I looked at him,
God
I'm like,
bless
oh
him.
my God, he looks like a baby. Like he has such a baby face. He just looks so young to me, but he's out there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. My guy's out there. He's living.
He was out there yesterday too, as well.
He was out there yesterday too, as well.
Raising
and
money for charity.
Raising money for charity. The ladies love him.
Of course.
I mean, everybody loves him. And he's great. I think he'll be okay.
Okay.
I think he'll lock in when it's time, but they're definitely all having a lot of fun this summer. As
Yeah,
they should. They
as
won the
they
Super Bowl.
This is the prime, honestly, peak of his life, if we're being honest.
Oh,
Like he's
God.
coming off a Super Bowl
Well-
win as a 22-year-old where he got a pick six
on his
in the biggest
birthday.
game.
Can you imagine? Like, what do you have to do to be born and then have that happen to you? First of all, that you're good enough to make the NFL
Yeah.
because it's actually so rare to make the NFL in the grand scheme of things. That you're that good. B, your first year in the league, you make it to the Super Bowl, and then C, you have that play in the Super Bowl, and then become the most beloved
Like
athlete
the
in
individual success
Can I-
coupled with the team success,
Yeah.
that never happens.
Can I give you some fine print? Maybe D, he's a white cornerback. Could I just say that
Yes.
too? Like,
That's
I mean,
part of it.
good
But,
grief.
like,
He's unbelievable.
Yes, it's crazy.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
but he did, and it's funny because I forgot about the whole birthday on his Super Bowl thing, right? Because I was like, just looking up exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
The first thing that hits me is, dude, he's young.
He just has such a baby face.
He just turned 22.
It's so
like, let the kid live. But it is funny because you can tell the story. You said it to me. We said it on air.
I don't even remember.
It was Memorial Day weekend.
He was
wasn't it?
around Memorial
Yeah,
Day weekend. He was
came
I was in
up.
Margate. We were at the same bar. Then I heard he was in Seattle the next day, and then he was back in Margate
I mean,
that
he's
night.
doing it
He
up.
was
What
every
cracks
point
me
you
up-
could hit in the Jersey Shore. That guy was everywhere. And you know who he was with? Mark Andrews from the Ravens, actually.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
they're
were at
hitting the town together.
Wow.
What's
Mark Andrews
interesting
hangs
to
out in
me
Margate
is
a
I'm
lot.
like, I love how he's also embracing the city because he could be anywhere in the world right now
Yeah.
if he wanted to be. He could be at, staying in Miami for the summer in a beachfront mansion, but he's like, nah, I'm going to Ocean, or I'm going to Wildwood.
I venture to
I'm
say
going
that
to Margate.
the Jersey Shore is probably a little more fun than whatever he does in Iowa. So
Yeah.
I don't blame him for sticking
That's
around.
true. He's like, what is this?
he's walked into a whole new life over the last 12 months.
Well,
Oh, well, we love him here. So.
Yes,
He
absolutely.
can do whatever he wants as far as I'm
Little
concerned.
Koopy.
You
As
look,
long as he's putting in the work.
he'll be playing a position that he's going to get beat. So that let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah.
But he is a stud. I'm referring to him as the chosen one. Like somebody sent me a picture, like, look at a beer gut. I'm like, bro, that ain't a beer gut. He's ripped. Like,
He's ripped.
yeah, that ain't no
What?
beer gut. Stop it.
That's somebody in a basement
a
somewhere.
hater.
That's a hater.
Well, you could just already envision.
That's looking for very
Yes.
minuscule flaws.
Yeah, there was
'cause
like a
there
little-
aren't any.
I'm like, come on, man. He's ripped. A
People do
person
that with
like
Travis
that.
Kelsey too. Like he's just gallivanting the world with Taylor Swift. He must be out of shape. Oh, look at his gut. It's like, all right, this guy's Travis Kelsey.
Yeah.
He's still a menace of an
I
athlete.
did see his back hair though. That was something.
My wife shaves mine, so
So that's a good wife. That's a good wife.
True
Hey,
story. I asked my 5-year-old daughter to do it. Believe it or not. Yes,
Yeah.
weird, I know, but trust
No.
me, she's nuts. So I go, hey, mommy can't help me. Can you help me? And she goes, no. I'm like, perfect. Hey,
Tell her take notes.
yes, great segue as far as he could be anywhere, but he's here in Philadelphia. There is no doubt about it that Cooper DeJean is loving life, being an Eagle, playing in this city for this fan base. Earlier today on The Gambler, Colin Cowherd, who was just drafted last night. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. But we all make mistakes. It is what it is. Anyways, Cowherd had Lane Johnson on his show. Now, they were talking about what it takes to get ready after winning a Super Bowl. And then Lane took the conversation to playing in front of Philadelphia fans. And this is something, you always hear it, right? Like, what's it like playing in front of Philadelphia, the best passionate fans ever, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think I've ever heard this before. Listen to what Lane said to Colin Cowherd earlier today.
Okay.
I think for all of us players, we want to channel all the Philadelphia pride and everything they have and how they care about football into how we play. So it's a lot easier said than done, but I feel like there isn't a greater city as far as motivation is concerned than Philadelphia. They really get you wired in the right way, in the best way.
No, the fans are incredible.
Yeah. Look, when it comes to keeping them honest, right? Like keeping them in line.
Yep.
Now, I know that we could be over the top, and I'm sure that there's somebody that's going, see, all the time that I was talking, like, it has a good effect on them. Yes, and you know this because you've been at both stops. So you've heard it all.
Yeah.
From the passionate fan that's over the top, and then, of course, the good fans that, we all strive to be. But when it comes to keeping them in line, like keeping them honest, I don't know, that's interesting to hear it from who's going to be a a Hall of Famer.
Oh, for
in
sure.
Lane Johnson, multiple Super Bowl ring winner here. It plays for the Eagles, which is the toughest team to play for in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And then you get a guy like Ace Bailey last night who was like, I don't want to go and play in Philly. Just
which, look, from an outsider's perspective, if I were him and I'm looking at the organization as a whole, and
Ace Bailey.
Yes, Ace Bailey, and a lot of the decisions that they've made over, I'd say, the last 5 years, particularly, like think about let's go back 2018, that playoff run, right? That was, I think, probably the closest that the Sixers have been in the last decade.
Sure.
Through the process, if you will.
Yep.
I can see where a player may have some reservations about wanting to play for the Sixers organization because it seems like there's mismanagement. I don't like to use that term loosely, but it's just, I felt like they just kept throwing band-aids on things for years. The Paul George signing him last year, you know what I mean? Like there's some questionable decisions that I think the organization has made. So I can see the hesitancy. However, don't disrespect us like that. You know what I mean? Like I can see both sides of it, and good riddance. So I'm glad we got Edgecombe.
Yes, no doubt about that. I think he made life real easy for Dale Morey by saying, I'm not playing there. But there was no doubt, you know what? Let me back that up because there were plenty of Sixer fans on my timeline. I'm sure yours.
Yeah.
Who cares drafting them? I'm like, dude, we've been through like nonsense. You want to bring this in now? Yeah, exactly. Harden, Simmons.
With the Ace Bailey thing, it was also the fact that he didn't want to not play for the Sixers. This guy was trying to choose his destination. So
right.
It was, I don't want to play for the Sixers. I don't want to play for the Hornets. I don't want to play for the Jazz, even though I ended up getting drafted there. So this guy obviously had attitude concerns. I always think back of when Jason Kelsey talked about the Ben Simmons situation years ago, when that whole saga was going on and Ben Simmons asked to get traded and didn't want to play for this team. And Jason Kelsey said similar things that Ben Simmons used, or that Lane Johnson was just saying, where he would say, this fan base is going to keep you honest. And that is a good thing if you have the right mentality. If you don't have the right mentality, it's going to break you down. But if you don't have the right mentality, you probably shouldn't be playing in this city anyway. So Jason Kelsey and a lot of other Eagles players who've had long-term success here have the right mentality. Ben Simmons, of course, had the wrong mentality, so he wasn't built to play in the city. But I think when you hear players talk about that, it kind of invigorates the fan base, and it tells them, all right, we're actually justified in our passion and how much we support these guys.
Well,
so I love it.
Yeah, as long as it's fair. I don't think that we should ever cross the line. I don't like personal threats. I don't like when fans go over people, go after people's families. I don't think they should go after people's appearances. You know what I mean? Like all those low blows. But I think, especially for an organization like the Sixers, we have to keep them accountable. I mean, it's horrible.
It really is exhausting.
It's exhausting. And I think we've spent so much mental energy trying to piece it together and pick it apart and kind of scheme with them because they've been scheming, right? The process was a scheme. It was a scam, right? It was a scam. It was a sham. It was a shot in the dark, and it didn't work.
It tried. I understood the vision. I wasn't a fan of it.
Here's the thing. I'll admit, I was okay with it. I'm like, let's throw it all in there, see if it works. It didn't. And here we are.
Yeah.
You know?
Because to
that was
me,
probably the NBA got involved. The
Well,
NBA
yeah.
stepped
Well,
in
that too.
and said, Sam Hink, you got to get out of here. Let me bring in Brian Colangelo, who has a burner and is on
Oh,
Twitter.
that was
talking about people's
again.
collars. People are insulting his collars, and he has to defend himself on Twitter. So now he's gone,
the
and now we're going to
Sixers.
restart.
if it
Babs
can,
Botini.
if it can happen, it will happen to that organization. That's where I'm at. I'm with you.
It's just bizarre drama.
So a good segue from, of course, Birds, not anything going on. Although I do know this much, dude. August 7th is the first preseason game. August 7th.
My God.
Like, we are here. It's football season.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Summer just started. Summer started last week.
First preseason game, August 7th. I just looked it up. I'm like, wait a minute. What is going on?
I mean, it's also nuts now too, because I feel like, and you guys tell me if you agree. I don't like the 17 game season. I don't like it. I liked 16 plus the playoffs.
I thought was perfect.
I thought that was fair. But now it feels like it's so quick. I like the Super Bowl parade was Valentine's Day.
Yep.
I feels like that was yesterday.
Yeah.
And now it's already the preseason. Like the season is so long now.
So long, and they got to cut
almost a year.
They got to cut the preseason short. It's so
Well, they
unnecessary.
did.
They have 4
Now,
games.
no, it's
Or
3 now.
games,
Yeah,
games.
but they're going
even
to cut
so,
it to 2, but
They
they're going to
should.
add
Those last 2
18.
games, Hurts isn't going to play second in the preseason.
No.
Saquon Barkley's not going to play second in the preseason. None of this offensive starting line is going to play a second in the preseason. Cut it short because it's not a real evaluation period. It's just for the NFL to profit.
So
it's true.
Over to the Sixers again. We got plenty of all of July to talk about the Birds. We'll manufacture those conversations. But as far as the Sixers are concerned, Nat, and I'm curious to know where you're at with this take, because last night Daryl Morey takes the podium during the draft, which was interesting. And then he said about Joel Embiid's health, he will be ready right around training camp. So it's like here we go again. That's how I took it. How did you take it?
I take it as I'll believe it when I see it. Nothing that, again, the mistrust, nothing that they say do I believe, especially when it comes to injuries.
Yep.
Because it seems like, what was it, the end of this past season when Nick Nurse didn't even know if Tyrese Maxey was shut down. Here's my thought. How are you going to game plan? How are you going to plan for the game? How are you going to game plan? How are you going to get when you don't know if when you don't know if one of your star players is playing? So like I can't listen to anything they say. I'll believe it when I see it. But Joel has been here now for 11 years. 11 years.
It's wild.
Think about that.
It's a long time.
Feel like it.
No, it doesn't feel like it. And what's upsetting to me is I feel like it's unfortunate. The best years are behind him and they've been squandered. We do see still so much productivity from him when we can and when he's healthy enough to play somewhat. But I don't know what we're in store for this year. So I'm hoping that this new guy, I don't know if he'll, immediately make an impact, but they say he's a good two-way player, defensive guy. So best wishes to the Sixers.
Sam was on him before Ace Bailey, like he wanted Edgecombe even if before Ace Bailey said
they got the third pick. I said VG Edgecombe is the guy, and so I'm
Okay.
glad they made the right decision there, because a lot of people were saying Ace Bailey is the third best prospect. He's the best talent in the draft. I said fit wise, who's going to make the most immediate impact? I thought it was VG
This guy,
Edgecombe.
yeah.
So I love the pick. From the Joel Embiid perspective, my question is, why would he not be ready by the start of training camp? And you can say injuries, but he hasn't played basketball in forever. He got surgery months ago.
Yeah.
What's the reasoning that he wouldn't be ready for the start of training camp? How is he not healthy right now?
Oh, by the way,
Unless
training
his career's
camp's what?
completely over.
September?
Like late September, early October. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
How is it even a question?
Because I don't believe.
Because it's the Sixers.
Yeah, and I don't believe that he's remotely close to full health. If that's how they're saying it, it must be bad. And when they wanted to fix his knee, remember the surgery? They wanted to like break his hip in order to fix it. And I'm like, what? Yeah. What are we talking about here?
That was like a semi-invasive procedure, what they went through with.
Yeah.
Which
That
isn't
was
like
wild.
a full surgery that he got.
Yeah.
So that tells me, if there's even a question he might not be ready, it tells me probably didn't work 100%.
No, and you got to think about his size, his stature. He's so big. He throws his body around. He's always on the ground.
Always.
He's
on
always
the
on the ground. He just flails flails around the
He's-
Wells Fargo Center.
He's not again, we know Father Time always wins. That's number one. And number two, he's not going to be the first big man that's career is going to come, fall short because of, things catching up to him.
Yeah,
right?
it's a shame. I love him as a Sixer.
Same.
I've loved him as a Philadelphian. He's done so much for the city. I feel like he's repped us really hard. He's always been vocal. But I think he's a little upset with the organization now too.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see what would happen if he said, it's time to go.
It's time to go.
I think,
it just has no market out there. Who
Correct.
wants this guy? He's
right
damaged
now,
goods
yeah.
at this point.
That's the unfortunate part too. It's like, because at this point, for the best interest of both parties, I would be okay parting ways with him, because it's like, do you realistically think that we're going to reach a championship this year?
Yeah.
With the team that we have right now?
And
you got to, unfortunately, we're back at the rebuild. We're back in 2011.
We do have again, and Sam, I'm curious to know your thoughts on this, because I believe that there is some sort of brightness, like the future is somewhat bright with a guy like McCain, with a guy like Maxey, with VJ Edgecombe, with,
fresh blood.
Yes. So it's like, all right, I guess maybe what I'm asking is, like, if we can get through the next 2 seasons, do you think those guys are enough that we can build around that type of core and get something going here?
I think Morey deserves a lot of credit for setting the Sixers up for the post-Embiid era, which may be coming sooner than anyone actually wants to admit. But he's drafted really well. Tyrese Maxey in the 20s, Jared McCain in the 20s. Now we have the third pick, got VJ Edgecombe. He has all-star potential. So this team's actually set up where they're not going to have to go full tank mode whenever that post-Embiid era comes. They have young stars to build around. So I think Daryl Morey's done a great job, and I think it's always been in the back of his mind that this Joel Embiid experiment may come crashing down at any moment. So I think you're right. The Sixers are set up where it's not going to have to go full tank mode. They're going to be fine whenever Embiid's career or time as a Sixer is done.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, could be a little bit sooner than what I said last year. I had a terrible feeling, and I was losing my mind when people were telling me he's going to play more than such and such. I'm like, I don't even think he's going to reach the 30-game mark, and he didn't. He finished.
Well, if we hear ramping up in October, I'm going to
Well,
lose my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, and this was last year, and there's one thing you can't defeat is Father Time. Now he's another year older.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Sean. I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel a year older.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, same
Not
here.
this spring chicken over here.
Trust me on that.
I don't feel it quite yet. You think Cooper DeJean feels it?
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning and I'm like, how did I hurt my neck? All I did was sleep.
All I did was sleep this way. That's it. No, that's all it takes. And this guy over here,
pain?
he's got the fountain of youth working for him right now. Nice and young.
God bless you, kids. God bless you.
That's why I defend Cooper DeJean, because I'd be doing the same thing if I was a Super Bowl champ.
a quick turn off of this one, because I want to get over to the Phillies with you, Nat, but I'm curious because it is news. Do you dabble at all in the WNBA? Does Caitlin Clark make you tune it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'll turn it on if it's on. I'm not as invested as I would like to be. I hope to get more into it, but it's piqued my interest, and I casually watch games.
Nice. Yeah, she's out tonight with a groin injury, which
That's
is not
upsetting.
good. Yeah, that stinks. And again, she is the league.
She's amazing.
The numbers are
Yeah.
unbelievable. How
And
many
she's-
people watch because of her?
I think it's fantastic
Yeah.
for the league. Like it's awesome. I hope that Philly gets a team. I know that
Would
they've been
hope.
talking about it.
Why don't we?
I don't know, because despite the Sixers and their losing ways, I do think that Philadelphia is an exceptional basketball town. You think about all the talent from the streets of Philly, like scouts come here, we have really pure talent here, and the women play here too. I mean, and we would pack that house.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's the thing that really moves me to the point that like we need a team here, is that you look at some of these other teams or these other cities that get teams and they're filled. Like Atlanta. Atlanta's a terrible sports city.
Right.
And they pack the place.
Yeah.
You go down, look at what Vegas is doing. Vegas, I know the Vegas Golden Knights are great, but the Aces, and they won a lot, but they pack the place. I just feel like Philly would pack the place.
Oh, we would definitely pack the place.
And it's all politics with that stuff, but I do think the next round of expansion, Philly will be included. I mean,
think they
Golden
might-
State just got a team in the latest round of
Oh, wow.
expansion.
Do you
so
think
I
they
think
were
I think the Sixers or the Philly is next.
Do you think they were scared to give Philly a team?
What? Because the fans.
We could be a little crazy, as we said. You were like, I don't know if the league's ready for Philly just yet.
Philly, yeah.
It's a pretty good thought. I mean, you think about some of the harassment. That
It's not
athletes
right.
get.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not cool. Not cool. We need a team. Let's go. All right. Yes. So Caitlin Clark. I wanted to bring that up there. We do talk about her a lot.
I mean, she's getting the Jordan treatment though. Whew.
Yeah, she's getting beat up. They come after. A lot of people that cover the sport will say she brings it upon herself. She's one that doesn't back it up, that will come at you, let you know. So, and she backs it up.
Yeah. Well, and what I think is interesting around this topic in particular, and when you're talking about women, it's funny because it's like there's all these opinions about it. It's like, oh, wow, they're so nasty to each other. No, these are just competitive women playing professional ball. And they're playing their hearts out, and it's not always pretty.
Yep.
We talked about this the last time I was on. I was a little bit of a dirty player.
Well, you know what's funny is what I learned last year about everything was it's about us. It's about the people that are viewing it. We don't know how to react to the women that are competing like that. Like that was the big takeaway for me. It was like everybody needs to realize like it's you that's watching. That's the issue. It's like these girls are out there doing everything that
if you're
the
okay
NBA
with
players
it in men's sports, then you love basketball.
Yeah,
in
it's
the
just
NBA.
I can see. Women have been. Women they're supposed to be pretty and nice and yada yada yada. But these are athletes. These are competitors, and they're gonna compete.
Who's your one teammate? The
Sophie Cunningham.
Yeah,
she's
a black belt. She choked the girl out. Like this
she
girl
had her back.
Yeah.
I loved that. See, that's what Sarah. I'm like, yeah, girl, you get them. That's the nature of the beast, and these are competitive, top of their game women, and I think it's unfortunate. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but it makes for better
great
basketball.
TV. And what she said after the game was she was like, the WNBA never defends Caitlin Clark because the referees are never tossing these people out who are coming after Caitlin Clark violently.
Right.
So I guess I have to defend Caitlin Clark if the league isn't going to.
Yeah.
And
Good for
obviously
her.
she did that.
And she's a black belt, like I said.
Is that true? She's actually a black belt.
She played football in high school.
She was a kicker, right?
Yeah, she filled in and played football, put the pads on and everything. Yeah,
Can you imagine?
No joke. And
that's
then,
why I talk about sports guys, because I could never really play.
Yeah. Dude, same.
All 5'4", me and all.
Sam dabbles in the world of hoops.
I
Sam's a
played
hooper.
ball, but it's been I was nowhere close to that type of level. That's why I'm sitting here.
All right, let's get on over to the Phillies, unfortunately. And they just finished. This is brutal. I don't. Now they roll into Atlanta, and I guess the big question would be: should we take anything more than what took place? Obviously, with just the final score, because you got the trade deadline coming up on July 31st.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do something. Harper was quoted. Dombrowski was quoted in a podcast with Jason Stark. I want to say that it was like, he said, go out and get a right-handed bat.
Yeah,
like, okay, this is your guy saying that. This team is good enough, and at the end of this series, even though you did get swept, the starting pitching was unbelievable. Mark,
that's what's they had one hit the whole series, or one run the whole
one
series.
run,
one run, yeah,
ridiculous,
yeah,
absolutely ridiculous what they'd put up against Houston. Now Houston's a great team, no doubt about it, but. Do you think, I guess the big picture question that I'm taking away, Nat, and I'll come to you first on this, is like, do you think that this would have an impact a little bit more? I guess, is this a good thing for people that want Dave Dombrowski to go out there and get somebody else that can help out in the outfield? I'm pretty sure he's probably going to be active, but maybe this cements it even more. Like, dude, you got to make something happen here.
Well, I think just based on the injuries issues that they're dealing with, they should just for security purposes, regardless.
Yeah.
Because Bryce comes back, great. You know what I mean? Fantastic. But is it going to last? You know what I mean? And we're getting to the point now. We're coming up on the All-Star break. We're neck and neck with the Mets. It's only going to get more competitive. We'll face them again in the end of August, I think, where I think we'll really see maybe a little bit of what this team looks like as we enter the playoff picture. Because I don't think we have that full picture right now. But yeah, I think he has to be aggressive. He has to get somebody just to help for security purposes.
There are some decent names out there. We were talking about it yesterday with Jeff Passan's report on ESPN.com. Some really good bats out there, some good pitching that you could bring in to help out the bullpen as well, which we know
bullpen would be
which is
blessing.
Has to be, because Dombrowski did say that even
every
he was like
year. Why? It's like every year.
And then Alvarado goes, and gets suspended, which was a huge deal. So that was rough.
God, Sean, I blanked that out. I blanked that out.
Well, it's impressive, Nat, because what they've been able to do
without him, that's why.
Without him. Without Harper, Nola, there's somebody else I'm forgetting. I think there's another injury that happened too as well. It's like, wait a minute, this team is putting it together, and they're dealing with these injuries, and that's like, you just don't want to waste this. And it's never good when you come up in Major League Baseball history, as long as this game's been around. This is just the 10th time in Major League Baseball history that a team was swept despite allowing no more than 5 runs in the entire series.
That's insane.
Yeah, like you got the pitching from Wheeler, from Ranger, from Sanchez today, and you can't get the run support. I don't know, Sam. Aggressive. They got to be aggressive.
The bats, and you have to be aggressive. It's the only solution at this point, because after what we saw the last few seasons and how things ended, where they couldn't advance runners in scoring positions, their bullpen fell apart in that series against the Diamondbacks a couple years ago. This feels like the end of the run for this team, and it's this season. So you have to be in all-in mode. Think about what happens if the Phillies flame out in the early round, maybe the first round exit in the playoffs. Rob Thompson's probably out. You might think about trading Alec Boehm, depending on who he finishes the season. Nick Castellanos might not be here next year. This is the final run of this iteration of the Phillies if they are flame out early, so you might as well go all in. You have to have an all-in mindset for this team, and that's how Dave Dombrowski has to approach this deadline.
Yeah,
I agree. And when you got, again, I hate saying it like this because it is baseball. It's a different world, but the bar is set with the Dodgers. Like that's who you have to beat.
They're the standard.
Yeah, they're the standard.
They're the standard now.
And spend.
That's all they do is spend.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like, I just don't know what they are thinking. They don't. It's the bullpen that really bothers me. We have the same conversation every single year.
Yep.
Every single year. And because our offense has the potential. We know that they have the potential. They just can't always execute. And like you said,
this weekend,
being aggressive, playing small ball, getting the guys on base, advancing on base,
not being over aggressive, swinging, all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like playing that small ball, really just like scaling back. I don't think every obviously you want a home run every hit, but it doesn't have to. You know what I mean? It's
not the winning approach.
It's the bullpen that I think consistently is the issue, and I'm just praying that that's the trigger that he pulls.
I know we're on the air, but as far as like it'd be a fun thing for the timeline, describe the Phillies with the meme, because what just took
verbal
place,
memes?
Yeah, we can't do verbal memes, but you know what I mean? Like, is it that the house is on fire and this is fine because they just beat the Mets 2 of 3. Everything was great, sunshine and rainbows.
That's me.
What?
The house is on fire, but this is fine. But I said at the opening day this year that I was going to internally ride the wave.
I like that.
Yeah, I was not going. I was Jalen Hurtsing it. I'm just.
I
calm,
love
cool,
a season approach from the beginning, almost like a New Year's resolution, a Phillies resolution. I dig that. I dig that.
That was it. So I don't like how the Houston series went, but we're approaching July. I'll see how I feel after the All-Star break. Is when I'm going to turn into a psycho.
And that's when you should. And that's when we started going downhill last
Love that.
year.
Yes, great.
Just to let you guys know.
Yes, I love that. Right now, today, I believe, is the halfway point, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say it is. Yeah. So we are halfway through a 162 season. And you got Rob Thompson, who approached the media afterwards and said, quote, "We got to get back to the basics." That's a stock answer. But
he always gives the cliche answers.
It's 162. Like, you can't overreact. You can't be too high when you beat the Mets 2 out of 3 and take first place.
Right.
You get, you go down to Houston, you can't do anything with the bats. But
when you have these glaring issues that keep coming up,
correct.
It's like there's no reason to celebrate a big series win over the Mets, because you know that the goal is a World Series championship, and there's these things that are going to hinder your ability to get there. So my verbal meme is the here we go again. You know that one?
Yes.
Where it's like, that guy.
Here we go again.
I guess mine would be, have you ever seen the guy and he's like sitting there? It's like a white furry monkey, and he's sitting on a chair and he's going, "Why though?"
Yes.
That guy.
I know that one.
It's why though. We just had this great series against the Mets.
The verbal meme.
Yeah, the verbal meme.
I'm gonna have to write that one down, pull that one back out. I like that one. Yeah, and people are responding and saying, "Man, it feels like I watched the same game for 3 straight days." You're right.
Yeah.
It was just tough. It was a tough watch. It really was. Well, they roll on to Atlanta, and maybe that gets the juices going when you take on a team in your division. Atlanta is in action tonight, taking on the Mets again. If I'm not mistaken, that was a 4-game series, so we'll keep our eyes on that one. And of course,
and if the Mets win, they're back in first, right?
Ooh, did not know that, but yeah, it sounds about right.
I think.
Yeah, the Mets actually did win. Soto.
Don't like that.
Tell you what, after I criticized Juan Soto, so I was at the game on Friday, as I said,
and
this dude walks everywhere. He walks to right field. He was on first base. Some batter after him got walked. He literally walked from first to second. And I'm just like, dude, you just signed the most expensive contract in sports.
That's why he's walking.
Like, yeah, exactly. He can do whatever he wants. Like, come on, man.
Don't mind if I do.
Be the leader, you know. I'm like, I'll chase Utley with it. Like, come on, dude. Be the guy that the young guns are going to look to. And all he's done since I was critical of him has hit home run after home run, 2 in 2 games. I think he's got 10 in the month of June. He's incredible. And I did say, I did say the fine print, like, yeah, you can hit 40 bombs. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
After it's all said and done at the end of the season. But man, that was really crazy to see him just casually strolling out.
He doesn't care.
No,
Why should he?
He don't care at all.
He's good.
But when Mets
He's
fans
Gucci
start
now.
getting out on him, we'll see if he starts caring then.
Yeah, well, you know, they're winning and he's producing. Again, it's not his fault that team loses when they do. They're top of the order.
He got off to a rough stretch the first couple of the season, but
He
he's definitely picked it up since then.
I do like the rivalry and I do like the competition because again, as we get into September, if things are still neck and neck like this, like I said, I'll be psycho. But if we're battling the Mets, you know, that every single pitch is when I'm going to start like pulling my hair out.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
Last year was insane.
I'll be bald.
Join the club. Last year was insane. I was at the one game and that they came back to win. And I think I said something along the lines of like, it was one of the greatest games I've ever been at.
Yeah.
And then that
was the only win.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was bad. So again,
you're the good luck charm, Sean.
I like their chances.
Every game.
I'll go. I'm in. One on Friday. Let's keep it going. Let's get back to the winning ways. But I am curious to like how I would really love to be a fly on the wall as far as inside that clubhouse. And you know, look, it's a team, yada yada yada. But when you get that type of pitching in 3 straight games, like, come on, dude.
It's a shame.
Does Wheeler look down? Like, really, guys?
Probably.
You would hope. Should they?
To. Yeah. I mean, I think
hold
it's
everybody
like,
accountable.
Yeah, you got to hold people accountable. And I mean, again, I don't think anybody ever sets intentions of going out onto the baseball diamond to lose, you know. But at the same time, these are the types of they could have won at least one of the last 3.
Yeah.
You know, and if there's no offensive support, it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable.
No. So we'll see what happens as far as next game out against Atlanta. And once again, 7:10 tonight, Mets and Braves here. Fire up DraftKings Sportsbook. Take a look at what that number is. Griffin Canning getting the start for the New York Mets, -119, and Grant Holmes for the Braves at -102. All right, here's the deal. We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll come right back. The other day, as you said, it was so hot.
Yes.
Natalie, it was really hot. It was disgusting outside, and you went to multiple outdoor events. Nice work by you. Here's what I had. So I cooked up something, burning questions, and I had some fun. Stumbled into an interesting way to phrase a question from Luke Arcani, who has a guilty television show pleasure.
I already know where this is going.
Also, with the 4th of July coming around, we got a barbecue question coming your way. So I have 5 burning questions for Natalie Egenolf on the other side. We will get into that. We'll put a bow on this bad boy right here. Sam Oshtry from The Score. I'm Sean Brace. Natalie hanging with us every Thursday in the 5 o'clock hour. More after this.
Stuck in the same day-to-day routine? Wake up, go to work, eat, sleep, repeat? Break through the boredom this summer and download Call of Duty Mobile for free. Enjoy fan-favorite maps, modes, and operators from classic Call of Duty titles, plus new mobile-exclusive content. Today doesn't have to suck. Cure your boredom for free with Call of Duty almost anywhere, anytime. Call of Duty Mobile is available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play Store for free today. Rated M for mature.
Lowe's knows July 4th savings are worth celebrating. Right now, get up to 40% off select major appliances and get an additional 10% off 2 or more select major appliances. Plus, get 3 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. These deals are coming in hot. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. calling grandma for her recipe? No brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m.? Big no brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas? The ultimate no brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th. Streaming live only on Hulu. Starring John Fogerty, Bryan Adams, Sammy Hagar, Mariah Carey, Tim McGraw, Jelly Roll, Ed Sheeran, and more. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage, superstar performances, and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Get your iHeartRadio Music Festival tickets now at AXS.com. Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
If you're just heading out, we've got jam traffic on the Schuylkill eastbound 202 to Belmont and Boulevard to South. Westbound stacked up approaching University to Girard. And busy on the Vine Expressway both ways, Schuylkill to Broad. Blue Ridge southbound, stop and go St. David's and Media Swap for northbound. Heavy 95 to Route 1 and Schuylkill up to the Turnpike. Delays on 95 northbound. A barge from the Broad Street with an axe on the shoulder. And then Jan Girard up the bridge. Southbound Jan Copman to the Betsy Ross. Lara Tortella, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Today doesn't have to suck. Break through your day-to-day boredom by downloading Call of Duty Mobile for free and enjoy fun gameplay featuring fan-favorite Call of Duty maps, modes, and operators. Plus, tons of new mobile content anywhere, anytime. Available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Download for free now. Rated M.
The riveting podcast, What Happened to Talina Czar, unravels the chilling mystery surrounding a woman's disappearance during the COVID-19 lockdown. The internet sleuths who wouldn't let it go. And the dark subcultures and betrayals they unearthed.
There were a lot of secrets that were very hard to find.
Listen to What Happened to Talina Czar on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow What Happened to Talina Czar and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Basketball is not over. Big Three is back this Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on CBS. Fast-paced, physical 3-on-3. The most competitive physical basketball in the world. See the league everyone is talking about. Miami's 305, led by Lance Born-Ready Stevenson, MVP Michael Beasley, and Mario Chalmers. Coached by Hall of Famer Michael Cooper, taking on Boston's Ball Hogs with Coach Gary Payton and Kevin Murphy fighting for second place. Also featuring the world's best 3-on-3 players, featuring Dwight Howard, Joe Johnson, Kevin Murphy, Montrezl Harrell, Jason Richardson, Jordan Crawford, Paul Millsap, Glenn Rice Jr., Greg Monroe, Wesley Johnson, Nasir Cole, and many more. Hall of Fame coaches Nancy Lieberman, Dr. J, George the Iceman Gervin, Steven Jackson, and Nick Young. Basketball the way it's meant to be played, followed by 2 games on Vice. Big Three is fierce and live on CBS and Vice this Sunday starting 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific.
Oh, yay, yay! Now at Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years guaranteed on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Hey man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com.
Coming down the home stretch here. It's the Daily Tickets on a Thursday. Yes, indeed. Phillies lost yet again. Did manage to score a run. How about that? Yay! One run. Yeah. So 2-1. Unbelievable. A lot of historical feats, not in a good way, happened in that series down in Houston. So that's one that I would almost recommend burn the tape, right, Nat?
Yeah.
I just get rid of it.
It was forgettable, and it will be forgettable.
There you go.
And I'm going to forget it as soon as I walk out the store at 6 o'clock.
That's it. So they roll on to Atlanta. We're having some fun. Of course, NBA draft round 2 tonight. Sam Oshtry from The Score, Natalie Egenolf here. Sam, big one for you as far as, and I forget, Fleming, is that his name from St. Joe's?
Rasheer Fleming, yep.
And he's going to be the top dog and as soon as this gets going?
I'm pretty surprised he fell out of the first round. He was awesome at St. Joe's, really long, great defender, prototypical 3-and-D wing, can shoot the 3-ball really well. So I was shocked he fell out of the first round. I think the Sixers might target him, but he might not make it to the Sixers. I expect him to be off the board within the top 2 picks in the second round today.
All right. Great stuff, Sam Oshtry. What do you got cooking over there at The Score?
A lot of NBA draft stuff going on last few days, and then free agency next week. And then things kind of quiet down because it's the off season for sports in general.
Yeah, it's going to be list week and Mount Rushmore week.
Season.
Oh, yeah.
Rushmore season.
That time to shine.
You can always whip up a good field of 64, a little March Madness type of thing.
Is Jalen Hurts an elite quarterback?
Oh, here we go.
No, I'm not. No, I will leave.
Natalie, name your top 11 Philadelphia current sports stars.
Stop.
I kid.
Stop.
All
My
right.
brain hurts just even in entertaining that thought.
So, look, we'll get into this with the question that I have. So I got 5 burning questions for Natalie Egenolf. We're always having some fun here on a Thursday. And it's brought to you by the fine folks over at Gerhardt's. Brand new showrooms in Phoenixville and in King of Prussia. Trust me when I tell you, they've been doing Philly right for 85 plus years. Check out everything they have to offer at Gerhardt'sAppliances.com. And also, just to let you know, stay cool with the region's largest selection of air conditioners. Yes, it's hot right now, ensuring your home stays comfortable all summer long. And when it's time to fire up the flavor, explore the best barbecues and outdoor kitchens on the planet. Enjoy free delivery, assembly on select Weber grills, plus a showroom full of hot deals and cool promos. Check them out right now at Gerhardt'sAppliance.com. With that being said, 5 burning questions for Natalie Egenolf. Here we go. If I can find my there you go. Bring that. Sorry, one-man band over here as often. 5 burning questions. I came up with this because it was hot as hell outside.
It sure is.
So we're going to stay with that theme. And off of what we were just discussing as far as bad sports takes out there, what's one sports take that you've heard this month that really ruffled your feathers, that you were not down with? One of the worst summer sports takes that you have heard this month.
Well, it was the Jalen Hurts conversation. That was the dumbest, laziest, most asinine conversation after a Super Bowl win with the Super Bowl MVP in the city of Philadelphia that you could ever hold. Why would you ever create? Look, there's sometimes when you create a quarterback controversy because it does deserve to exist, right? Even when we got Hurts and Wentz was still here,
absolutely,
that was a warranted conversation, right? Because we as the fans weren't privy to,
no doubt,
we didn't know that Wentz is
just
downside.
gave him a contract.
We just gave him a huge contract, right?
Yeah,
fair. Now you're gonna question
what he didn't make the list, right? Is that he kept
top 11 athletes?
Yeah, he didn't make the list.
Wasn't in the top 10.
You're just dumb and reaching for stuff there, and I don't think you belong in front of a microphone if you have that opinion.
You think that Philadelphia was the most blessed sports city right now? Like the Sixers are struggling.
No, let's complain about the one guy.
Yeah, and the
let's
one
complain
team,
about the one guy.
The one team who
you
actually
just
won a
got
Super
nothing
Bowl,
else to say.
And the one player on that team who was the MVP of the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but not a top 10 athlete.
Nailed it. All right, question number 2. One athlete, this was off of the Iron Pigs, who lost air conditioning on their bus.
I saw that.
And then had to take a 6-hour bus ride to the next game. Garrett Stubbs.
He's like,
no shirts on.
He's like, I'm coming back. I'm going to play really hard. I'm really sorry.
I go from the vibes guy, the DJ, and the post
6 hours on a bus, dude. That is rough. No AC. All right, so one athlete, coach, or sports media personality you least want to be on that bus with.
Oh, goodness.
One athlete, sports media personality, or coach for Natalie.
That's an interesting question. Who
That's
would I not want to be on a bus
That you don't want to
with?
be on the bus with. It's hot.
That's a great question.
Take our shirts off. It's too damn hot. No
You
AC.
got to be careful with this answer.
And there's no windows.
I know.
There's no windows either.
Who would I not want to be on a bus with?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. Maybe John Tortorella. Is that weird?
Ooh,
He
torts.
yells a lot.
Yeah. All
Just
right.
trying to think. He
I
just
like
seems
it.
like a grumpy guy. And in the air conditioning, I
Yeah.
mean, he's no longer with us.
No
But you know,
doubt.
but you know what I mean? I'm just thinking of somebody who might not be great in an air conditioned free situation. Like he would not be
That's
fun to be with on a bus.
Dude, that's
right?
a great answer for me.
Yeah.
I am anti-torts, and I was a torts guy at one point
Same.
of my life.
That
Yeah.
2010.
Get rid of that, dude.
Yeah.
See ya. Yeah. What did you think about the trade?
Oh, loved it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Aggressive,
I'm
bold.
I'm
You
not
don't
big
like
on
it?
no, I'm not big on the pucks and sticks. So like
Oh.
I go to other for my
Oh,
hockey
okay.
knowledge.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's good, but again, I feel like the Flyers are going to be similar to the Sixers, where we're just kind of watching a little bit of a slower rebuild.
Still 100-1 to win the Stanley Cup. Sam, did you take a piece of that?
I don't even know what trade you guys are talking about. I'm sitting over here clueless.
All right, here we go.
That's my Flyers and hockey knowledge.
Question number 3. You have to create a new Olympic sport from a summer activity. From a summer activity, you're taking it to the Olympics. 5 burning questions presented by Gerhardt's for Natalie Egenolf.
Does drinking margaritas on the patio count?
That works for us.
First thing came to my mind was beer
Or
pong.
on a beach?
Was beer pong.
How about drinking margaritas on a beach?
Margaritas on a beach.
Are you an Olympic gold medalist in that?
Yes, I am.
Damn right. Mark Henry Jr. said gambling. I was like, yo, that works.
That's good.
It's 5 burning questions for you. All right. Question number 4. What is your guilty pleasure show or movie? Our guy, Luke Arcani, not Pleasure Island. Pleasure Island?
Love Island.
Sorry. Pleasure Island's a much different show.
But I think a lot of that happens based on some clips I've seen
Yeah.
over on that island.
My goodness. Yes. One. Sorry. What is your guilty pleasure show or movie?
So I have been watching Sex in the City for 20 years. And there's a new new edition of it.
Saw that.
So I told people that I still watch it. And everyone's like, "You still watch that?" I'm like, "It's my guilty pleasure. I've been watching these characters for years
Same
now."
girls like Carrie
It's just
Bradshaw. the
Carrie
whole nine?
Bradshaw's. Samantha's no longer.
Yeah, they didn't
Kim
get along
Cattrall.
anymore, right?
No. So she's not in the new one. But I'm still keeping up with these ladies.
Nice.
Yeah. So I guess it's a guilty pleasure.
Hey, Carrie looks good too.
She looks beautiful, doesn't
Yeah.
she?
She looked really good. Saw her on
She's in
Howard
her
Stern.
60s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
saw her on Howard Stern. I was like, damn, she looks good. All right, question. Oh, with that being said, Netflix. We were just talking.
Yes.
Poop Island or
That's
the Poop Cruise. God, I'm an idiot. The Poop Cruise.
I didn't see
Which would you
Poop
rather be on,
Island.
Brace? Pleasure Island or Poop
I
Island?
definitely would rather be on Pleasure Island. Yes. Good God, I am terrible.
But,
All right.
Sean, there's an idea.
Yes, the Poop Island.
Got something there.
The Poop Cruise on Netflix. You must watch it. You've seen it,
I
correct?
watched it. It showed up, and I was like, "Yes, I'm watching."
Oh my
this.
God, that was mouth on like jaw dropping, disgusting.
What?
And you would never, ever, ever get on a boat ever again in
Never,
your life. Yeah.
never. What would you have done?
I would have lost my mind.
Like, would you have? Like, I guess I would have just tried to sleep. You know how they pulled the mattresses out onto the
Yep.
decks and they were sleeping,
They
but
had-
like,
yeah.
I don't know what I would have done.
Have you guys been on cruises?
No.
I've been on one cruise.
What was it like? 'Cause
I was 12.
anti-cruise. Okay.
I was 12.
So
I
have no desire to ever go on a cruise.
I don't think I ever really want to do.
Not after
one
watching
after that. No.
Poop Cruise. No,
No.
definitely not.
No.
But I will say, as long as there's a casino, you got my attention.
Okay.
All right. If there's
you got a casino on land. Like I'd rather do so many other vacations. Hundreds of other vacations I can think
Right.
of I'd rather do
Yeah.
than go on a cruise.
Yeah, but I'm not anti-cruise. My wife is anti-cruise. I am now anti-cruise after that move, after the
Poop
show.
Cruise, yeah.
And the Poop Cruise, I'm telling you, they have this. Well, Natalie saw it, but they have it's like they're running it back. It's under a title name, and it's 45 to 50 minutes. It's a quick
Yeah, it's
watch,
not even long.
and it's like perfect.
You're just horrified the whole time.
Yeah, you really are. And oh man, just nasty, absolutely nasty stuff happening on the Poop Cruise, not Poop Island. All right, final question, number 5, burning questions here for Natalie Egenolf. You can bring one current athlete to your backyard barbecue. With 4th of July fast approaching, we got our grills from Gerhardt's Appliances all fired up.
Okay,
Who you
one
bringing?
current athlete to my backyard barbecue.
There was a popular name that was asked. So you're the third person I've did these questions with, and both of them said Kelsey, if I'm not mistaken.
So I mean,
That's the
he's,
obvious answer.
he's the obvious answer. That's of course where my brain goes, but
You
I
just
feel like
partied
I'm
with
trained
them.
like that. I feel like, I don't know, Otto Kemp seems cool.
Oh, wow.
That's out of
Otto
left field.
Kemp. I like it. Very
That's an
nice.
interesting one.
I'll give you some baseball organs there on that one.
He seems cool.
Yeah.
Can I give
Yeah.
you an answer?
Oh, yeah, sure. Go right ahead.
I think Tyrese Maxey would be an
Oh,
awesome
he'd be
hang.
great.
Awesome
Solid.
hang. at a
Solid.
barbecue. He would get along with everybody.
I like that. Otto Kemp. Interesting. To be honest with you, I only saw him do the one post-game press conference.
Yeah. No,
Or
I don't know. He just
on the
seems
field.
interesting.
Well, we need him to start hitting the damn ball.
Yeah,
that's for
that
sure.
too.
We need them all. Nat, you're the best. What do you got
Thank
cooking
you.
up? We're following you on all things socials.
All things social. I'll be back here next Thursday.
Damn right.
At 5:00. Yeah, I got a lot going on. I'm still on Fox 29.
Beautiful.
Sporadically at night sometimes in the morning. So just rocking and rolling and cooking towards football season, which is gonna be so much fun here.
No future events as far as you're like with the last 3 days, Nat on the town.
Not
with
on the town.
FIFA game.
No. This weekend's pretty
Nice and calm.
Pretty calm. Then we have 4th of July, and then end of July, I have bachelorette party and all
Beautiful.
that other good stuff too. So
I
it'll
did
be a good
ask you
time.
your beach, didn't I, last time?
Yeah, Wildwood.
Wildwood, yeah. All right. Good.
Yeah.
And Sam is a Margate guy.
Yes.
All right. So and
You haven't been transformed into a Sea Isle person after.
Oh,
the
well,
last couple
I
days?
used to go to Sea Isle in my 20s, but I grew up going to
Same.
Wildwood. Went to Sea Isle in my 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I haven't been back since.
Right, right.
I'm now a Stone Harbor guy, I guess you could call it.
Oh,
yeah.
pinkies up, everyone.
Poop Island, yes. Yeah, this was awesome. Sam, you crushed it.
Oh,
Sean
thank you,
Barnard
guys.
earlier today. Natalie, fantastic job as always. Following you on socials. Back with us on Thursdays. Folks, we will be live tomorrow. Brand new daily ticket coming your way. If you missed anything, everything can be found at foxphlgambler.com. Support the team. Follow us on socials. And, of course, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Damn it. We have a lot of fun here on The Gambler and a football season right around the corner. Everybody, good luck on all those plays. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace. Summertime is here, and who needs a cool grand in their hand? Fox Sports The Gambler has you covered. Listen.